All right. As the venture continues into the next stage of events, and who knows, into the next chapter of events, as the team has been not on the, I wouldn't say story path. In fact, you've created your own storylines. Just not the one I thought you'd be on at this point in time. Let's go back to the festival where it all started. Giving you way too much options on that point. Anyways, after inquiring about a few things here and there, Dust has managed to get a few jobs within Hythe. After returning here for the third or fourth time, I'm not entirely sure. You just keep coming here. I don't remember why was a thing, but you guys made your benchmark here, and then has continued on making more and more marks. Along the way, you have inquired a few new things here and there. Nikolai has taken a few moving points into his relationship. Dust has solidified a relationship, and Ada is struggling with life and all about that, losing her best friend for the second time in a row. Things have not been great. And the worst part is, no one talks with each other about your problems. So, communication
I'm working on it.
is not exactly the best thing for this team. Along the while, the rest of your companions, the squad, as I've dubbed them a while ago, and you guys were fine with it, so we continue it being the squad. We're doing their own things. Opal is currently helping out Nikolai, and hopefully she gets something through. Fauna and Whisper are doing clandestine things, mainly paperwork, except for that one time Whisper may have murdered a person. I don't know if Ada is ever going to tell the rest of the team, but she's literally told everyone that she is an assassin for the kingdom, so it's not unexpected, it's just weird. But she has gathered information, and she will distribute it as soon as possible. Ada has met a random individual that is in town by the name of Crimson. Who knows what that's all about, but right now, you guys are more or less having a few free days until Opal can finish up whatever they're working on. You guys are more or less relaxing with your significant others or just trying to relax. Thankfully enough, Ada has found a few people here and there, heard some rumors about the wall, and, well, got honestly better associated with the squad. Dust has, spent some time with someone he truly cares about, and hopefully can settle down once this all entire mess is over. Hopefully. Same with Nikolai. However, his is more, I want to say, business-oriented. It's definitely not a relationship Nikolai had thought of, but it's not a bad one. It's definitely something new. With all these concepts in mind, and for the next 2 days, what do you guys decide to do? But before you say that, I forgot one last thing. At the end of the first night of 3, Opal asked out Ada. She said, give it some thought. If not, that's cool. Up to you. And then she walked away. Now, at the second day, no nightmares this time, or dreams, just a pleasant sleep depending on what your state of mind was. If it was restless, probably a nightmare, but nothing magically nightmarish about it. You all wake up, and what do you guys do for the remaining 2 days?
Who goes first?
Let's roll for it.
Dice roll.
Woo!
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We can roll
Invincible,
for
let's
something.
go.
Roll a d20.
First one tonight.
Let's go.
Discipline D20, okay.
11.
That is almost as middle as you can get.
15.
That is almost as middle as you can get.
That's upper.
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
okay.
Okay.
That is almost as high
Yeah.
as you can get.
Fair. God.
Okay. We'll go with Dust, Ada, and then Nikolai.
Okay, this
Yeah,
is what
that
we're
really worked out well.
this is what we're doing
Nice order.
over the next few days, right?
Yes. Interchangeably, like once you decide on what you're doing for the next 2 days, you can like talk amongst each other, like what you discussed, other things, and things of that nature. Like if
Okay.
your characters would be in that scene or something like that.
listing off what Dust is going to do. What I'm going to be doing.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm going to go back to the Tinkerers Guild, get certified there. I will be working on various.
Oh.
Yeah.
If you work on something, Nikolai might ask you to work on something.
Yeah. I am going to be working on various items for the community and any commissions, possibly. I will be working definitely on the commission for the bands.
Mhm.
That. And in my free time, I will be reading the books on creating Warforge, and then I'll be spending my evenings with Emily.
Yeah.
And then I'll kind of be looking around where I can and finding out information about the 2 cities that we will be potentially going, but that's kind of
Yeah.
a more side thing.
Yeah, okay. Well, for the first part, I want you to go ahead and roll Arcana for the bands.
Okay. And then I'm going to try to do what we talked about.
Yeah. If you're going to get assistance with that, because right now you have disadvantage because you have no idea how to rework a system of magic.
Okay. I will be asking Opal
Oh, good choice.
to help me out with that. And then, because I will be helping, like one of the things that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be helping her out with her project a little bit.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I'll just ask, hey, could you help me with this project? Because this is what I'm wanting to do.
Sure, I guess. You get... I guess it'll just flatten out the roll. No, Opal's quite literally an expert on this. I guess she would be helping... No, you'd be helping her on this, like, little part?
Yeah. It'd be more along those lines.
Yeah, this makes the most sense. Dust, go ahead and roll your jewelry tools, then I suppose.
Okay.
I'm just gonna have Opal roll her Arcana, I suppose. With you helping her, it'd definitely be an advantage. She can't help you with jewelry because that's not her thing.
I am literally shocked that I got that roll.
Okay. And you're helping her, so it's an advantage. That is low for her, and that is 17, which is better, but still very low.
Yeah. They are, instead of going to be like rings, it's going to be like a noticeable circlet for like an arm circlet.
Yeah.
So it'll be kind of very noticeable.
And yes, she has a +9. Yeah, this does make sense. Making these circlets for a pair, you definitely are able to create them. They are not your best work, but they are what's technically designed appropriate for the blueprints this person gave you. Over the course of time, you are able to make them, and they look nice. I'm not going to say it's your best work, because it's not, but with the time frame you had, it's definitely good work, especially for someone that barely gave you any details on the matter at hand.
Yeah.
Opal was able to rudimentarily create a bypass system. So these bands, in a way, like if anyone thought of this, to use them against a specific nature. So that was more or less clear. She's just needed to bring you to 16, which with barely a 17, God, I can't believe she rolled that low.
Yeah.
Anyways.
No. I was literally surprised too. I was just like 7 and an 8. That's the lowest I've rolled for crafting ever.
Yeah. But sure enough, it is created. With your next set of things to do, you are doing a few like little tidbit things here and there. That captain of the guard, 1 of 4, does come back. You take care of his wife's ring, And then after a day, which would be the next following day, she and a few other women in town begin to, pester you for more work. Along the while, Nikolai comes in. And Nikolai, what are you asking for, Dust?
Hi, Dust. I would like you to make me some jewelry that is effective for, like protection in combat. I'm being obscure because I don't know what it is.
I can do that, but I'm limited on what I can do.
Okay. Could you? So, like, when I got attacked the other day, they threw darts, and I couldn't do anything about it, and Julian couldn't do anything. We just had to duck. So, could you make like things that could, like, help Julian like dodge or like catch arrows, maybe, and like deflect them?
That would be a very difficult thing to create, especially within 2 days, let alone one.
So, I'm thinking. So, out of Game Dogma, I'm thinking of
Yeah.
the item that I'm actually trying to make is the gloves of missile snaring. It's a uncommon, wondrous item.
That would take more than probably a month to make, but realistically,
What?
I'm going to probably say 2 weeks because
How
Dust
much? Wait.
is more or less
how-
aware of things.
Wait. Is it because it's a wondrous item?
You said it's uncommon.
Yeah.
Most of the time, those type of things take a long time to create.
Mhm.
I only bypassed a few things because it was your character's thing to do.
Yeah.
I will say Dust can create them. It'll just take time.
Yeah,
what's
it'll take-
I forgot is it the time per day? I forgot the crafting rules. I'm trying to look them up. So uncommon item costs 100 GP to create, which requires 4 days of work.
Do you have the spell illusion? Major illusion?
I would think no.
Okay. What we can do is I can incorporate into some sort of jewelry the spell minor illusion, which could increase her. Essentially, it'll create something just so that it like shifts her a little bit, enough so that she can get a +1 AC. So you kind of like a displacer beast type of thing.
Yeah. So
I could do that. That'll be fairly simple for quick, and then just over time I could work on the gloves.
Wait, what is? So I'm sorry. I was wondering about crafting options. The DMG crafting options. Okay, never mind.
I'm assuming you're using the new rules, by the way.
I was looking at DMG crafting rules. I don't know. It said something about costing 8 hours a day to work, and depending on if you're doing it by yourself, and GP, and the cost of GP per day, and amount of work. Because there's no way I could help him, right?
Not with your skills.
Okay. So it would take minimum 4 days.
Let's see here.
For the gloves.
For the gloves. I mean, unless you count more wondrous items as a higher rank.
Yeah. Well, see. Also, I want to say this: Dust is not proficient in materials that would be used for clothing right now.
Okay. So you would. Okay. So it wouldn't be your. Okay. So if I would ask. So okay. So what about the other thing that I'm sorry. I'm thinking about this too hard. So the other thing I was wondering is making like we could just go with like a ring of protection. Would that be like too hard to make?
Not impossible. It definitely help with, AC boost and bonus.
Yeah.
It would take up a lot of Dust's time based off of everything else, but it is, within the scale and scope of time.
Okay. Well, we'll shoot for that for now, and then we can come back to this, and that could be like I don't know, a housewarming coming of relationship gift or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
From what I remember of crafting, if I'm wrong, you guys can debate me or tell me the truth, since I don't fully know, since I haven't looked up current rules of crafting. You require material, time, spell slots associated with whatever material or spell is required to use it, as well as specific level requirement. After that is
Yes.
cost and time, which means you're paying the
Yes.
artisan for their time.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, a ring of protection +1 ring, and I can essentially get that done with the spell Minor Illusion, which I have. I think we can, just for like flavor contacts with Minor Illusion, I think that'll work.
Yeah.
So
that would require a good amount of platinum to make the binding material, as well as, Nikolai does have to pay you.
Yeah. How much? Wait, can you use platinum coins or no?
Yeah, I suppose if you want to.
Well, I guess I have
it.
no platinum. I have no platinum coins. Never mind. I'll have to find some. How much does that cost?
Let's just assume 50 platinum is enough to make the binding of the ring, so that's not really an issue. So that's. Oh wait, that is 500 gold.
yeah,
Yes.
that's 500 gold.
Let's say 200 gold is enough to make it. And let's add another 50 on that. So 250 gold.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. So, yep, that's a 4, and take that a no. Okay, cool. I gave you the money.
Okay.
Do I give Dust the money?
Yes,
Yeah.
he's the artisan
Okay,
you're
cool.
requisitioning
I mean, how much-
work from.
Is the money all into the cost of the? Yeah, I guess.
Most of it's to the
Yeah.
cost, and Dust keeps the remainder, which is the 50 gold.
Okay.
Because you're paying for the material as well.
Yeah, you're paying for the material and the work, and since I already have the spell, that makes it cheaper. And so, like, if you were to say get something where it would require a spell scroll,
Yeah.
then we would also have to incorporate that spell scroll.
Can I find a gem to go put into it? I guess we don't need a gem because it's like.
You can if you want to, and you guys do have like a lot of random gems you guys collected.
Yeah.
It's not like a special ring. It's just like, oh, here you go. Here's a ring.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
cool. I don't mean there's not any kind of like big meaning behind it.
No,
I mean, it could mean that we're like engaged or like not engaged, but what's it
It's-
called? What's the word?
I get it, Nikolai. Like, quite literally, last session you said you were courting her, which, that does
Yeah.
go with gifts from time to
Well,
time.
I will incorporate a gem. We'll just say from our gems that we have that we got from the party. I mean, from the
cave a while back ago.
the treasury. I'll pick out a gem that's worth what do you say, 25 gold?
Yeah. It can also be a catalyst for the actual divinity of the spell itself as well, so that checks
Yeah.
out. Dust, you're easily able to make that as well. You tell Nikolai this.
Yeah.
I can't put. Oh my gosh. I was trying to defend the relationship from Dogma. Oh my god.
Dust wouldn't judge you. He does this on a daily basis. Quite literally.
Man.
In fact, he's doing this with the entire city right now, too. All the while, you go to the next guild that you're trying to incorporate yourself in. Go ahead and roll for me a perception check, and then perception check, and then jeweler's tools at advantage.
11 perception.
Yeah.
Are you sir jewelry? Because I'm trying. It's the tinker's tools. That
Oh,
I'm
right.
trying
Sorry. Tinker's tools at advantage. Wait, do you go back to the same guy you went with before? Or do you go to the one of the other two people? In the Tinkerers Guild.
I was thinking about going back to him, but I do want to try the other two. One of the other two.
Okay.
Probably Sarah.
You go to Sarah's, and hers involves a lot of technical information as well as literal information. Go ahead and roll for me history.
14.
Not the greatest. Based on the context clues of the information you have, she went with the concept of drow mechanized work on body construction of sheet metal versus standard metal, as well as the blade's curve and structure of armor. Based off of the history of knowledge that you know, most of the material is based off of archonic knowledge of the drow that live underground. There are some that live above ground, but most of them that live underground is what she's studying or teaching you. Based off of that knowledge, you surmise a few things here and there, but the main question is, how does that material fare above the surface? That information with a 14 you do not know specifically, even though in the real world you might. It's like a very common thing people know if you know D&D.
I know it.
Yeah. But the 14, yeah, it's kind of hard to tell. Go ahead and she shows you bits of material and then tells you how to, she asks you how you would rectify the potential problematic situation when it goes to the surface. For that, you would need an Arcana check.
Thank you.
Thankfully enough, you rolled high. You're not exactly sure, but when you touch the materials of the standard way the blades are made, it feels kind of brittle and it feels like it's turning to ash and cinder. Even though that doesn't make any sense. Breaking apart. You then tell her a few ways to blend the metals so it still works appropriately, but it actually solidifies on the surface ground. She nods and you pass that trial. We're just speedrunning this thing. It'd involve more things, but you pass that trial. She then does state, not bad. Most people don't know that standard equipment that we own, once going to the surface, will eventually break down. So good on you. All right, that's enough talent that we can indoctrinate you into the guild itself. Don't mind the words. It's just something we use.
Oh, no, that's perfectly okay. I'm well aware I'm part of the Jewelers Guild, so
Good.
as well. So
again, drow, different connotations depending on where you come from. I belong to the surface world now, but beforehand, indoctrination into our society meant a lot of stigmas on that one. So you never know. Anyways, welcome to the guild. She then hands you an associated card, so you can now use that card on any of the Tinkerers Guild sites that you go to. It'll also give you a discount and things of that nature, and when supplied to, more than welcome to enter inside the society. Meaning, finishing your paperwork.
yeah.
Okay. You don't have to go back to the Dwarven man or to the guy in the middle, but you can if you want to.
Maybe at a later date.
Yeah. You easily fill out your paperwork given the information you have. You had no clandestine site for yourself, so you're traveling, so that does make sense. Throughout the time and the days you have, you're all able to finish Nikolai's work. And go ahead and roll for me Tinker's tools. Just Tinker's tools. Man, that would have been super cool if you got a 27, but you didn't.
What is this for?
This is for general work on the rest of the small things you did in town. Like when people requisitioned you for their equipment / jewelry, mostly jewelry, and things of that nature.
I'm not going to say anything.
That I could use Minor Wish for.
You can if you want to.
Yeah, I think I'll use the Minor Wish then.
Okay. Normally, that usually means you roll with advantage. However, we already know what your advantage is, and this isn't so high that I'd be a stickler and say, no, you have to roll again. No, it's fine.
Yeah.
27 is fine. And I like this better. Immediately, Dust is hounded by so many people. Some of them have your business cards for some reason or another. Who knows? But more or less, people begin to like flock towards you, your name in the city, as well as very high up and low end people come towards you since your prices are very well underlined. Because you're not so high known, you don't gouge your prices with high end things because, you're building up your name. And when you're building up your name, you go as minimal as possible, but still getting something out of it.
Make it reasonable.
Yeah. I forgot the word. You're definitely making a reasonable price. So people middle end to high end can definitely meet you. And sometimes you do, I wouldn't say charity work, but work that would definitely be below your skill set. Like people that couldn't afford it, you're definitely helping them out on the side.
Or little tiny Susie who wanted to get something for her mom for her birthday, and she only has 5 copper.
Yeah. Throughout your time and days here, it is fruitful, it is eventful, and your name is wider known, but how far we will find out at a later date. In the meantime, Ada.
Okay, I know we can't roleplay anything. I'm aware of that. I honestly didn't have much to planned for her. I'm saying this as a player more than the actual character. One thing she would probably do, Ada would probably stop everyone before they leave to do their duties to explain about Crimson, and then to write to Crimson so he could come over and find out the person he was trying to look for. Try to help him out.
He does state he'll be there in about a day and a half, which basically means the day before you guys leave.
Oh, okay, so he'll see us later, so I don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Alright. Besides that, I guess Ada would probably hang out at the tea shop, go around Hythe, and just probably figure out the decision about Opal asking her out for a date.
Yeah.
Because that sounds like a thing she would do.
Yeah, definitely. Throughout the time going with everything else, you tell your friends about Crimson. No one seems to really know who they are. Whisper did mention she knew of the family connotation of that, but overall doesn't really know the person personally. Anyone else? Nope, no one else would know who this person is, especially because you don't have the right backgrounds for it. That's fine. You'll find out later. You write to them, and they more or less say they got caught up on something, and they'll be there in about a day and a half, which implies a day, or at least the day you leave, within the hours of time. You'll meet them again. You say okie dokie, or an actual thing you would say. I don't think Ada would say okie dokie. In the meantime, you spend a few hours here and there with new friends, old friends, and the tea shop, because it's been fruitful and eventful. Meeting your old friends again, or the same ones. I don't exactly know who you'd gravitate to. Let's say you meet a few other people. You hear other rumors in town and out of town. Most of this shop is middle end to high end people going in. Find enough people if you can find them, or really nice people if you can find them. You hear about something going on within the wall structure. Some cracks have been forming, and something about a tremor in the ground. They don't really have much detail, but you are aware of all this. In the meantime, however, you also contemplate, the situation at hand. Opal just asked you out. You're not too sure about that. Last time you knew she was into your friend. And it doesn't seem like she's not still into her. It's just, how is she going to date the evil big bad? I guess she could, but it'd be very awkward for everyone. In the meantime, you contemplate on this, and honestly, you're not too sure, what to say. And you're still not sure by the end of it. You just know that Opal's nice enough. She's friendly-ish. She's no. She likes all of... No, that's still not true. She's an interesting person. That one's true.
Funny that there's nothing nice you can say. Is there nothing nice that can be said about Opal? Wow.
Opal herself is a unique individual. It's not as if she isn't caring, but she doesn't show it like the way most people would. She is inviting to people, but self-serving is the right word you would describe Opal as. It's not as if she would be a bad partner, but at the exact same time, you're not sure if you feel the same way Opal would feel towards you. Overall, it is entirely up to you, Ada, to decide, but Opal herself has stated she's not the best person.
Opal's just different.
Opal's just different. Like, at the exact same time, she has never really shown, like, other than messing with Nikolai and anyone else she can mess with, she has never really shown consistent, what's the proper word for this? Other than messing with some people in your team, she has not shown any bad qualities towards her other than, you know, wanting that apple. And you're not entirely sure what that's about. You know her story, you've known her struggle, and, you know, going through that can probably mess with a person. But she doesn't seem like a bad person. It just seems like you're not sure if that's a person you want to date at the end of your thinking. And again, it's entirely up to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Ada, anything else?
No, Ada would probably just walk around, hide a bit more, just try to keep herself calm.
Yeah. Throughout the time you have, it is fruitful, it is eventful. That process of thought is in your mind. Like, Opal is there. It's not as if she isn't. It's just you've never really thought of that. It feels weird thinking about it. And so, of course, when that came out of the blue, it would definitely feel weird. Throughout High, you do more or less get your mind wandering, and it is helpful just walking around, talking with new people, hearing new rumors, and just getting your mind off of things. And it does kind of help. And you're not sure if Opal meant it this way, but having your mind complex with these thoughts kind of gets your mind off of other things. You're not sure if this is what she meant to do, but this is definitely something that happened by proxy. So, bonus. We're also still worried about what might happen next. In the meantime, Nikolai.
Yes, indeed.
What do you do for the next 2 days?
I would see if Ada wants to have the suit or the whatever you call it, the thing back.
You mean the thing that you fitted so she can't even wear it anymore?
Yes.
It can be refitted. I'm just saying.
I did say that I did spend like 300 gold on it. I would tell her that, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And then anyways, after I would tell her that, I would spend the rest of the day or the rest of the 2 days or whatever, like that amount of time. I'd go meet up with Dust because I'd tell him, hey, I want to get this ring or whatever this item is, and then he'd do it, and then I give him the money, and then I want to go out throughout the town to look for a cartographer or painter. And while I'm at Dust's spot, I would ask him if I could borrow like some very nice pieces that he's done, and see if it would allow me to borrow them so that I could get a piece done for him. Like the sword that he has or something like that. And maybe I'll bring the painter back to him, and then have the painter do like a sketch of him, and then have him illusionary the egg so he could get a sense of what the egg looks like. and then draw a painting of him with the egg and the sword in the background, and then do like a little mock-up like brochure / like description of like a pamphlet or some kind of like thing you stick on in front of a building, so people know that there's like this guy that does really good crafting. I said in the message I sent you, I said,
Yeah.
master of craftsmen for hire, the talented among the dust. That's what it would say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I
I
understand
guess the
all
first thing
that.
I need to do, I need to find somebody first.
Yeah.
That's really good at artistry.
Yeah. What do you mean by asking Dust for some of his craftsmanship to get it done?
No, I'm asking it for things he's already done so I can put them in the image.
Oh, you're
So he
asking for a
has, like,
list. Or
well,
like a
a list
description of
well,
things he's
the
done.
description, or like at least examples, so that the painter would know what to paint.
Okay. You're asking for references. Got it.
Yes.
Okay. Dust, for sure, you would have a few things you have done jewelry-wise. I don't think you give Nikolai a holy relic plate or something of that nature.
Yeah,
I mean, I would think that he would get a preference of what that he would want in the image too.
Yeah.
I mean, I have some like creative rights to like making the thing, but Dust is also, he would have some preferences. So.
Yeah. It's just like depending on what Dust gives you. It's like, should I give this very powerful weapon to an artist?
Yeah.
Easily enough, you ask Dust for a few things here and there, and he is able to give you them. He does tell you to keep an eye on them, just in case. Go ahead and roll a perception check to see if you can't find an artisan of a high enough skill level that you think qualifies for all this work. I'll give you advantage since it's a thing you're planning on doing.
Yay. 17.
That is not bad. Why has my bank sent me a statement? Oh, it's the monthly thing.
Should I make it better?
Why is this? Well,
Is that? I don't know. I have Ben's luck, so.
If you want.
I mean, it's just like I have the ability to roll it 5 times a day, so, and we're not doing any combat, so.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's a 20.
Could be worse. Could be better. No, it's actually good. I was hoping for a 15 at the very least, and you went above and beyond. Looking for an artisan with that type of skill check, you are able to find a bard of high repute, high nature, and high skill. He is known as Henry Smythe of the Smythe family. The Smythe family themselves are artisans of nature and lore. However, he went away from that and went with a more artisan skill check. As not a lot of people know, bards can be more than just a singer or a dancer. They can quite literally be a lot of things, even politicians. Nice. But as an artisan, Smythe is easily able to do this kind of work. You're able to convince him, even gives you a discount on the things he would charge you for. He only states, simple gold, and we should have a nice day of painting and relaxing. You agree to that because that is probably the best kind of deal you can get with an artisan.
Yes.
Or you can say no and find like a college student that'll do it for silver.
I mean, I'm fine with that. I mean, I just wanted to see how good he would make it, and then if he is, because I would tell him,
like, you talked up Dust so much that he's willing to gut his prices horrendously for this.
I was also tell him, I don't know if he's okay with this. I'd also tell him that this is for like advertising. It's not for like a single piece.
Yeah, that's fine. He does understand this, and he does state, perhaps I can get another Smythe to help out in this. It shouldn't be too much of an issue, but we do need to go to a printer's, which isn't an issue, but you might need to convince him on price amount. Yeah. So you go towards Richard Smythe's home, which he is a printer in the city itself, with block print, which is not the newest invention of print, but it's cheaper. The other one involves magic, which is more expensive because magic. In the meantime, though, you go to his home, explain the situation, and go ahead and roll persuasion to convince them on a good deal.
Persuasion. Wow. Normal.
Yeah.
Okay. 22.
Yeah, I don't think you need advantage on that. With 22, he does nod and improve, and he does state, "All right, then, that shouldn't be too much of an issue. It is a rush job, though. How many prints are we looking to get, and what sizes?"
I would say probably just maybe a foot in size, and half a foot, just for bulletin size, just for next to on doors and things, and then maybe some more hard copy, small handheld ones that are just the palm of your hand size for.
So variety.
Yes.
All right, then.
Well, just those two. One for personal, and so let's say probably 50 of the big ones, and then maybe 10 of the small ones.
All right, then. That shouldn't be too much of an issue. However, it's entirely up to you how you convince some people to put it on their doorstep or home. But it's your problem. With that amount of work and based off the time frame we have, we're looking at 100 gold, but this could be fruitful, and depending on the artisan, write my name underneath, could be advantageous towards myself. Free advertisement. Let's gouge it down to, say, 50 gold.
Alrighty. That sounds fine with me.
His brother then states, "All right, then, shouldn't be too much of an issue. Let's go meet your friend and paint a portrait." Thus, soon enough, you are met with Nikolai and this, you don't know what he is. He seems kind of like a human, but with a paler complexion than most, but the paler complexion is not, albino looking. It feels more blue than anything else, like a blue cerulean tone, tint to it. Nikolai explains that, he's going to advertise for you. So you minor illusion an egg and a few other things. Nikolai, how do you posture Dust to look in the advertisements?
So I'd feel like he would do one of those when you're an adventurer or somebody that wants to stand with a firm and more commanding pose, and they have either a sword or a stav,
yeah,
in their hand, and they're so he would probably have the sword, and then maybe he'd have the egg at his side, or maybe on a shelf behind him or something, and then some of the other items adorned around him.
I will say this: it's okay to have the blade in his hand, but what he will be lifting up will be his lantern.
Or that, yeah. There you go.
Yeah. You position Dust looking into the horizon line, lantern up as if guiding light, blade in hand sideways, however, to present not armament, but a defined look towards him. Behind him is also an embossed wire-like framework of the egg itself, behind as a background post and position. It's definitely as if dust is coming out of the egg. Well, the best way I can describe it is dust overimposed upon the egg with all of this coming about. It's very, stained glass form of the artwork itself. It's definitely something that stands out. After a few hours or so of doing this, the artisan is prepared, getting ready to work, goes towards his cousin, and soon enough, Nikolai, you are presented the next following day with all of these things. And go ahead and roll persuasion check to get some people. I'll give you advantage.
Some people?
I'll give you advantage because you don't know who Dust did work for.
You said persuasion?
Yes.
Or performance?
Persuasion.
Okay.
Because you're convincing people to put a poster on their wall of their home.
23.
It's a very weird thing to do, but not impossible. You find some people that Dust has worked for, and they more or less agree to it. It's like, oh, of course, done excellent work. Yeah, sure, okay. Sure, why not? Most people agree to it. It feels weird, but at the exact same time, they like Dust and his work. Over the course of time, you are able to placard these things all over the city. To a degree, some people do stop you, and sometimes you do place it over other posters. Jillian eventually helps you out, spending time with you.
Okay.
And at the actual guild hall, it's not the guild hall itself, but the work surface of the blacksmith area that Dust is currently in. You have to convince them personally, because quite literally you're trying to advertise for Dust over his own people.
So do I need to roll another persuasion check?
Yeah.
Okay, normal or not?
Normal.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So,
He does look toward...
Oh!
Even worse.
Yeah.
He does look towards you, and he does state...
Pain.
One of the smaller ones. Not the big life-size one.
Wait, how many sizes do we have made?
You had a variety of sorts. You got 100 business cards ones.
Oh wow.
50 gold's a lot of money. 100 business size cards ones. 50 profile images.
Okay.
I'm gonna say 20 poster sized images, and then 2 life size.
Okay, so the life sides are ones that we can place in a concert hall or something.
Yeah.
Okay. So
he says you can do a portrait, but no bigger.
Okay, I'll put the small one there.
Yeah, but you put it to the side along with the other advertisements that are there as well. But you put it in a place where at least it stands out, and with the artwork itself, it definitely stands out.
Mm-hmm.
You eventually convince a few people here and there at an inn, as well as a concert hall, which would have a lot of foot traffic with adventurers, travelers.
I want to go see if I can put it at the mayor's house.
Why the mayor's house?
Because that's some people walk by. It's in a town square, and people go there all the time.
You can do it in the town square, but I don't know why you would do it in the mayor's house.
Is that not the best? I guess it's not the best spot. Okay, maybe I'm thinking wrong.
No. The mayor's house is definitely in the town square. It would just feel weird that the poster's there, but you can definitely convince the mayor to do it on the town square itself.
Maybe the mayor isn't the best person, so I don't know. It was a thought. So I'm gonna go with maybe he's not gonna be the best place. So I'll stick with normal establishments, or at least places that people would feel like they could afford Dust.
Yeah.
Prices.
That would definitely be at a concert hall, to get the higher middle class and higher class people. And then a Adventurers Guild Hall, which would meet the travelers as well as low-end individuals.
And then I guess we could save some for when we travel, and then have some extras when we travel somewhere, and then put them in a very high traffic zone.
Yeah, for sure. At the end of it, you still have a good amount, and you've spent a very weird date with Jillian.
Did she not like it?
It was just random.
Oh, okay.
She cared no which way for it. It was just weird. No, she doesn't define it as weird. It's is there a reason why we're advertising for Dust? As she's putting up a poster.
Well, he's I don't know, the best craftsman I know, and we need to get his name out, so that if we do that, then he will have more people that can give him money, and then we'll have money when things get more difficult, and he can make us battle equipment when we need the battle equipment in the fights to come.
I suppose that's fair. If you'd like, I can hand some of the posters over towards some of my I guess you could call them childhood friends.
Okay.
All right. You hand some over towards her so she can advertise to other people. You don't ask her what she means by childhood friends as you head over towards the night and actually have a
Okay.
date.
Oh yeah.
Nah, it's fine. Honestly, childhood friends just means people she doesn't really speak with anymore, but higher end on the scale of having more money.
When would Dust finish the ring of protection?
Now, by the end of the final day, you guys are able to wake up. Some of you relax more than others. Dust coming back after a hard night's work because you definitely spend a lot of time at the forge, as well as the Tinker's Guild dependent. You all rise up early in the morning. Dust, you have the, what was it, a necklace or a ring? I think it was a ring. For Nikolai. Opal has returned after a few hours gone for the night. Whisper has also returned with a good amount of documents for everyone. And Fauna is also there. Jonathan greets you all. Morning. This is like the amount of time you paid for. You need any more time? I don't know, pay more. Anyways,
Don't we usually overpay you?
no, that's usually him. Points toward Dust. You guys just pay standard.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, it's been 3 days, so time to change the fresh fruit. He dumps the stale food in a bucket and then gets another bucket and puts the fresher food on the table, leaving you alone to your devices.
He's changed the food before?
Yeah, every 3rd day.
I've never seen him change the food. So Nikolai's he's freaking out. I was like, what the food? It's not.
You can't tell the difference between the new food and the old.
Okay, never mind.
I guess less brown on a banana. Whisper then states, yeah, I've never seen him change it either. Anyways, I have a bit of documentation here we need to go through. Other than that, we can go through everything else we need to. If anyone needs to say something first, I guess they can go.
I think maybe what we should do is read these documents and see what's going on, and then.
Okay.
I mean, the documents are going to take a while. I meant, if you guys need to discuss other things.
Above game. Is there anything that we need to discuss?
Opal's thing, Dusk, you just giving Nikolai his thing.
Yeah.
Did Nikolai tell you about the whole spell thing?
A what?
Not yet.
I don't even know what we're talking about.
The spell you went to go to the capital to get.
Dark manipulation or
Nope.
something. I forget.
No.
Dark transformation. Is that what it's called? I
Yep.
don't remember.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
hasn't happened yet, but I did write a note about it.
Is now the time? I don't even know.
It's also Aida's parents, but I think that's too early for Aida to talk about her parents.
I mean, we could I could bring it up real quick if we have a little aside. I have an idea.
Yeah, this is basically your aside.
So, I guess Dust, do you have something for me?
Dogma.
Oh, I thought we were going back to.
You did say that it would take 5 days for that one guy to come.
A few days, which would be today.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Which guy?
that. Okay,
Are we talking about
the
twin
band.
guy?
the bands. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, well, Nikolai, here's first of all, here's the ring that
Oh,
you
yes.
commissioned me.
Thank you. You didn't make it too much. I just want it's just meant to be a nice gesture, right?
Not too nice. It did make it nice. It had to be
Okay.
definitely my standard. And
Yeah, I
something-
didn't want it to mean I want it to be something just to remember me by and know that it's a good piece so that she is more protected. So
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I mean I did get that spell back when I went into the city up north.
What spell?
What do you I got a spell when I went up to go see the shaman or the what's her name? It was the druid. No, cleric. Yes, the cleric.
Is this during when we were at Sorry, it's.
This is when I spent my month here, and or before that, you were in the other city with Dust and his family.
Right.
Yeah. When Nikolai went to the capital, acquired a spell, and then never mentioned his current thing, and then left.
Yeah. So I did find a spell. I learned it from my limited knowledge of learning things somehow. And now I know it. She said she was a prototype spell, so.
Okay, 2 questions. One, did you see a normal cleric or a high cleric? What kind of
It was a high cleric. It was the old lady I fought when we went to the battle arena.
Oh, why didn't you ask her to,
I didn't know she was a high cleric.
What do you think she was?
Whisper then states, I think she meant the second time.
Yeah.
You just say yeah.
Okay,
yeah. So it's a fun, yeah. I thought it would be nice to have some kind of extra spell just in case we get into a bind. It's not really a safe spell, so I don't really think that we would want to use it. But if we come into a situation, we could use it.
Are you going to be specific on what the spell is, or are you just gonna?
So basically, the spell embodies dark energy, and it turns the person into a hulking monstrosity of undead, and then they attack something. And I'm not sure if it uses my energy or if it uses spell energy.
Why did you learn that?
She said it was a prototype.
Quite.
And I mean, I didn't know if it would be useful. I mean, I could probably use it on me?
Oh wow.
Question mark?
God.
But I mean, you said that you're undead, right?
Did I told you that, yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, we couldn't use it on you?
Okay, how does the spell specifically work? Can you say that again?
I've never used it. I don't know exactly.
She gave you Digitail documents.
Oh, she did?
Yeah.
Is this Ada telling me specifically at game, or Nikolai trying to explain it?
Are you asking me or are you asking Dogma?
I'm asking Dogma.
Do both.
Okay.
Explain the spell, and then in game, Nikolai explain the spell.
Okay, so the spell does basically it turns something that is an undead creature within range, which is 60 feet, and transforming it into a monstrosity. And for the duration, which is 10 minutes, it increases in size by 1. So it goes from being a normal to a large, or a large to a huge. It's a strength score increases to 20, and maximum hit points are doubled. It attacks do an extra 4d6 necrotic damage. And I'm guessing that since it was a prototype, you added some kind of thing to it because it's not a natural spell. So, because it's a necromancy spell. So I didn't know if there was some kind of energy imbuement that's kind of part of that. I don't know if there was like a disclaimer document that she gave with me also.
Yeah. That's currently like the documentation of what the kind of spell she wants to go for, what she was trying to do. And this is the best sort of thing she has right now. Basically, she was trying to amplify someone's skills, life, and attributes, but so far it's only worked on the undead. That's why it's a prototype for her. So it works how it's defined. Okay. However, if you're trying to do it on, let's say, Ada, yourself, or other, there might be something happening there because, she doesn't know the thing that's happening with you or Ada because you never explained that.
Okay, so technically, Ada's not undead. She's like a differentness. So, like, if I cast it on a skeleton. Like I'd have to summon a skeleton and then cast it on the skeleton.
Like theoretically, this could work on Ada.
Okay, so
She's probably
okay.
closer to a revenant.
Yes, are revenants undead?
Revenant revived by a something to exact revenge. A mixture of both.
Yeah.
Okay, but a vampire is undead.
Yes, by classification, yes.
Okay, cool. So I explain that to Ada in Nikolai terms.
Okay.
I don't know. I say, yeah, it makes you bigger and it makes you do more damage in necrotic powers, and also you get bigger.
Okay. Nikolai, I appreciate your getting a very powerful spell.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're going to Isle, I don't think I'm going to be undead for long. Hopefully I could find someone to, well, I guess, revive me.
Opal nods.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully we don't need to use the spell, because if it is the world's energy or yours, probably not good if we use yours.
Exactly. How would that work? Would just your own dark magic go into me, or is it just gonna...
You don't know until you try.
I don't really know.
Listen, Nikolai, I just think we should need to spell it unless it's like a very serious matter at hand.
I agree, and I felt like this was just I don't know, like a
plan B.
Maybe like a plan D, or like maybe like Q. I mean, I wouldn't say it's second plan. I'd say it's like you're actively dying, or someone is actively dying, and I'm like, oh no, and then we do it, and that's like.
Oh my god.
Whisper does state,
The thing, yeah.
as weird as this is, I honestly agree with Nikolai. We do need something just in case something is to happen. To be perfectly honest. That being said, it shouldn't be the first thing we react to. And since we all know, it's probably better that we all know instead of Nikolai doing it when we don't know.
So now you know. So.
It's still very weird though. But again, it'd be weird.
You heard it. Experimental spell,
I mean, you experimented with death, so I mean, we both experimented somehow.
All
right. Whisper does state, okay, when I asked if anyone else needed to go first, didn't expect this. Okay, anyone else? Like, looks towards the group.
Can I go see Jillian?
Yeah, you're definitely going to see her before you head out. That's
I was asking, like, Whisper, if I could leave.
If you want to.
Do I need to stay?
It all depends if anyone else needs you for something they need to discuss. I can give you these documentations on the road or when you get back.
Wait, why do we need documentation?
I'm going to tell you what the documents are in information is inside.
Fine.
I feel like if you say something, it's too early to say something. So I'm gonna wait till later.
Fine. Okay.
Go ahead, Whisper.
As she starts, you then hear trumpets behind you, and a dashing man opens the door, but he's quite short. Still dashing though, still very handsome. Standing at 3-2.
Is it?
Oh, I'm glad you remember them. It's not the wizard in your dreams, but he is someone you've met before, I think. It's been so long. You know what? I'm going to make him a different person if you don't remember him. Yeah, it's still Ritz. Opening the door dramatically, standing at 5'2", feathered, peacocked man, 2 trumpeters to the left and right of him, opens with a flourish of his blue cape. It is not the man in your dreams. The man is in blue, but this guy also blue, but with it just doesn't fit. You know it's not that guy.
Wrong guy.
Looking up at you, he does state, "Right then, I've been told that," looks at paper in hand. Duh. of the I don't know if this is the entire name, of the dust is here. Among the dust. It's
Yeah,
smudged.
my name is Among the Dust. I go by Dust.
You can still wipe it. Greetings. I am Maclamay. I am the practitioner. No, that's not the word. Something with a P. Person that requisitioned your services. I was told that you are here and not at work. You assumed as he meant patron?
Yeah.
Oh.
To work for? Because it is done. It has been completed.
Yeah, you finished it. He does state. Now, has my item as requisitioned been received? You assume was finished?
Yes, it has been finished. And I'll just kind of
excellent.
take him out.
He begins to look towards the trumpeter, like snaps at him with 2 fingers, and like the trumpeter gives him a brown sack. You assume money's in it as it jangles inside. Excellent. I do require the material and the box item. You assume the item?
Yeah. I'll just kind of hand him to him. It's not necessarily in a box. It's more like in a cloth. Like it's in a very nice cloth, but still in a cloth.
Yeah. He looks disgruntled by it, but he doesn't say anything. But you feel like he's looking at it with a polished look of someone that expected more. He like surreptitiously hands you the money while he unwraps it, and inside are 2 bangles that he can easily wear, or someone else can wear it. Looking at the craftsmanship,
shined them up. I would have shined them up.
Yeah,
before.
you definitely would have shined them up. Looking at the craftsman's work and how things have gone, he casts a spell known as... actually, you wouldn't know it. No, just might. Dust, you know the spell. It is something arcanic in nature, but not arcanic in definition. It is a spell that I can't remember the name of, but it's basically seeing the value and worth of an item or thing. It's like Identify, but it's a 3.5 spell that I don't remember the name. But it's heavily a merchant thing, so you would know about it. But defining its worth and value and looking at it, he is able to denote, the skills and properties of it, and it does work as stated in his documents, as weirdly worded as they were. He then looks towards you and goes, "Excellent! Although your flourishment does need a candid look, I can't say that your craftsmanship isn't up to par." You assume he means good work? He then snaps at the other trumpeter, and then he hands you a sack of money. "That does qualify you for your added. Now then," flourishes his cape, "I am off!" And he, walks away. Trumpeters bow, and then they both leave.
Calling after him. May I know who you are, sir? Good sir?
Of course! I am the Marquis. And you know that Marquis is a title, not a name.
Marquis who?
No, just the Marquis.
Just the Marquis?
One of the trumpeters moves towards you, while the Marquis goes, "Yes!" and then walks away. This is Marquis Henry. He's been newly appointed to his title. He is eccentric, recently married, using these binds to bind his will and life towards his and his own, meaning his spouse. It's a way of showing that in pain and in health, they would be bound together. I think that's what he meant. Not entirely sure. He speaks very differently.
What city is he from?
He's been newly appointed into Io itself.
Very well. I might come see his wife.
Looks
Just to
towards
get-
you very, quizzically. I suppose if you'd like. She might have some jewelry need to be refitted, I suppose.
It might help her. So
Fair enough.
I have some information that might help her. So
Sure.
don't let him know, though.
Of course. Generally, as long as he doesn't need to know, he doesn't know. He then hands you a business card. He paid for his title. Gives you a small, short bow.
And I'll give the trumpeter my card and just be like, here.
Yeah. He gives you a card for the marquee, and then you give him a business card. Looks at it. Fine work, by the way. And then he also walks off.
Yeah.
Whisper looks towards you, Dust. Okay. That was weird. Anyways.
Yeah, I knew that someone was coming, but I did not expect it to be like that.
Neither did I. Anyways. So this information at hand. She hands you all documents and goes, this is the first cleared information that I received from the actual routes we legally have. These are some of the documentations that the scouts ahead of us have given to the two locations we have sent them to. After all, we sent them with the order of the king. And so far, each report does state that right now the town to the east is having a blockade issue with the undead. So far, someone newly known as the Crimson Pegasus has been keeping things at bay, but so far things are looking far more dire. These are the first early reports. Other later reports do state that some teams have fallen and died while protecting the area, but things have been going awry. And some of the military forces have not given information due to potential leaks in the area or something of that nature. I'm not entirely sure. However, the groups to the south have not really found anything out of place. In fact, there are a few people in town that have more or less divined their own leadership and have helped with the city's own structure and rebuilding. They're not really entirely sure what the problem is in that city as of yet. And further reports do state that only 3 people in that area are definitively defined as leaders. In fact, Hydra is the one I'm specifically talking about. Those 3 leaders are not even the mayor themselves, so that is concerning, but not to an extent of problem as of yet, as they all seem to be helping out the city itself. Hopefully that can be taken care of swiftly or easily. She then hands you other documents. Now these I acquired differently. Since the military in Verta wasn't exactly helpful, I made ways around not getting clearance for these. Don't ask any questions if you don't want to be framed for anything. I told Ada the exact same thing. Anyways, with this information and new details does show that some of the wall formation and structures have broken down. They are reinforced with magic, however the magic circles themselves have been more or less destroyed by unknown means. More than likely, the military is keeping that at bay to not frighten any individuals, but some people within that forest area have sent out word and documentation to their family and loved ones to get further to the west if things break down even further. If I had to guess, the frontal assault team has failed, and now things have gotten so close that the wall and the city of Verta is in danger. And potentially other cities around the area. Nikolai?
Are we getting summoned, or is there anything we need to... I know that we didn't really have... We have to go to the capitals or to these cities, right? And we're supposed to fight them?
Verta
or is that not our mission?
Verta is a city that's in danger of the army of the undead. We are to stop that potential risk factor of happening. Hydra itself is defined as someone that has a leader within it. We have more information on those two parts, but at the exact same time, Verta itself might be in more danger than the king even knows about. Likely we haven't been summoned to Verta yet, is because people have been keeping things hush-hush. Hence, needed to get this information in a different way than normal.
Okay. Interesting. I think we should leave as soon as we can.
Yeah, we need to.
Probably. With Hydra, the leadership themselves do have a few names.
How much? Wait. Oh, sorry. Continue.
No, I was just going to say, do have a few names, but they're not good names. They're just synonyms. Not synonyms. Titles. One is the King of Red, one is the King of Yellow, and one is the King of Green. If I had to guess, this is the leader of the three groups or factions within the city itself. Thankfully enough, no fighting has been going on, but if I had to guess, things are being worked behind the scenes. But yeah, any new information in Verta has been dwindling more and more throughout the weeks and days. The last known missive of the teams we sent out was over a week ago, which isn't unheard of, but very strange that nothing has been heard as of now.
So how are we planning on getting? Our plan was to go to Verta, right? Or
We were talking about going to Hydra first, but
I think that's not as much of a pressing issue as anymore. This is
no,
what we agreed on.
we need to. We need to head to Verta.
Dust, how much gold do we have in the bag?
For party funds?
Yes.
For party funds, we have 78 platinum, 6,648 gold, 217 silver as of right now. But we have not yet been able to sell off the weapons, armor, jewelry, and fine clothes that we picked up from the.
This is just a thought. I mean, I know Dust, Whisper, you're not done giving us all the information, but do you think it'd be worth, instead of traveling there on foot and just by land, we just go grab a spell scroll of teleportation?
One of us would need to have found a location there beforehand. So unless any of you have gone to Verta before, sure, I suppose.
And it has the teleportation circle too, as well.
Yeah.
Which one?
Nikolai does have a teleportation circle that is a day away from Verta.
Yes.
Which would be in Mist. You would be across the border.
Where is that exactly?
Quite
I don't
literally,
have that big a map.
it is a city in the Mist. It is literally in a different kingdom. You can travel a day to get to Verta, but you'd be on the other side of the border.
Yeah, we'd be
Do we have
coming
to cross the border? Is crossing the border difficult?
It's not impossible. It's just that area is a schism of violence. You need to find a way to stealthily get through, which isn't impossible. People, Opal, have done it before.
So, just to give us an option here, from the, I'm not saying this is the only three that we have, but traveling there, we have one. We go to the Kingdom of the Mist teleport that I know. 2, we get a teleport scroll, and we can teleport into Verta if one of us is familiar or at least knows the general area. Or 3, we just travel by land and take the time it takes to get there.
How long would it take us to travel by land? Just to get an idea.
If we are on horseback, roughly a week and a half. 2 weeks walking.
Okay.
That's a
Well,
long
we
time.
do have our camels.
Probably the same
So-
speed with horses.
Yeah.
So I
So we
suppose we
can
have
have,
to.
if we go straight to Verta, there is a possibility also, like, if we stop at Isle, picking up additional support from Isle for Verta, potentially more information too.
I guess we all need to do I don't
Um,
want to be just too hasty on making a decision, but I think we need to come up with a quicker, a solution quickly, or at least a decision.
There's also a chance if we go to Isle and we talk to the king, we might be able to have access to the teleportation circle within Verta itself.
So
Opal does state if they have one. I highly doubt each city has one, but since Verda is one of the larger ones, it might have one. So
If
possible.
anything, if Verta doesn't have one, Johnpra might have one, and that
Very
would
true.
even cut off time even further.
Whisper does state we've all been to Isle, so if we do get a teleportation scroll, or if one of us knows the circle to the capital, we could probably cut that time short.
Yeah, I think getting one to the capital is another good option, because then we could just talk to the king immediately, get some quick supplies, and then find another faster way of travel from there.
Yeah, also wondering why the princess hasn't contacted you guys. Also
Yeah, we
wondering.
could probably get Vol if she's still there.
Yeah, maybe Vol would be. I don't know how well she would be. She might be handy in a fight, but I don't know if she would be.
I don't think we'd be able to get her to go to be able to take her to Vertex.
Yeah, it might not be. Maybe we get some
You
skill
don't
fighters or
entirely
somebody.
know.
Probably not.
Like,
Okay.
the main reason why, other than being a parent, the king and technically the queen is dead. He technically has what are they called again? I think in
Heirs?
olden times they're called a mistress, but technically they are wed. Whatever, stepmom. She has a stepmom. Anyways, the reason why the king and the stepmom have been keeping her in the castle other than being parents is because the prince was also missing and they needed an heir to rule the kingdom in case anything bad was to happen. The heir has been found. You found the guy.
Yeah.
There is, if you convince him, a chance of her going to Verta with you guys, or Hydra, depending on what you guys are doing.
Okay.
Whisper does state, possible if we can find her, and, you know, if she's still at the capital of Isle, which is Isle. I've been meaning to change that name. She doesn't say that, I do. There is a potential way of at least getting new blood inside the group. Weird way of phrasing that. At the very least, we need someone to help make things more understandable, keep things together. Clearly, we are probably not fit for that. No offense to any of you.
We definitely need someone who can help us talk things out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But other than that, we could probably find someone in the capital. That being said, though, the rest of the documentations do state that the other cities have more or less simmered down. Mighty itself is fine after the... I don't really know what happened there, but supposedly an illness broke out, riling the bodies of the people inside the city. So far, things have been quenched down there.
We were the ones that dealt with that, so...
Yeah. Oh, good on you then, I guess. Quota itself has also been taken care of right now. It has been demilitarized due to the fact that it has been more or less closed to non-outsiders. So bonus on that. Then looks towards the rest of the group. Also, someone by the name... it doesn't really matter. Apparently, we're supposed to look out for this guy just in case he's out on the field. They present you an image that you guys know.
Uh-huh.
They don't give a name, but we're supposed to look for this guy in case They cause more trouble in the area.
What's he look like?
A nice, handsome young man, maybe 18 to 20 years old, carries his shield on his back, armor set. Although this is only localized information within the city itself, so I doubt the kingdom itself is looking for him.
I feel like I know who that is.
Yes, you know who that is.
Is it the guy that I gave a bunch of crap to?
Yeah,
Yes.
I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Let me look back and see.
She then tells you that every other city has been more or less taken care of. So, like, no potential danger of those cities becoming more dangerous are in order. So right now, the other two cities are the main problem. You guys have taken care of the other cities just fine. And right now, the main forces of the military are in the area, keeping things peace and at bay. The only problem was because of all this hectic nature, she explains that more reinforcements can't be brought into Verta without probable cause. But because the military in the area have been keeping things quiet, they can't send anyone else.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah.
All right.
And we can't exactly tell people we have this information, or else we'd be thrown into the stockade. So,
Okay.
value my life.
So we keep it quiet that we know what's going on in Verda. Just know, hey, we're heading here next.
Jonathan, are we talking about this inside Jonathan's place?
Jonathan doesn't care. And, like, I'm going to say Opal does the whole scribing on the ground thing, can't cast magic, so he asks one of you
Oh, yeah.
to
Yeah.
cast a zone that only you guys can hear inside.
Yep.
That's fine. That's still canon. So that happens. Whisper then states, honestly, dependent on who's telling the truth in this information, we can go to either city. It just depends on what you all decide to do. If we do find the supposed leader, it might be possible to convince them to stop the army. If we do stop the army, it might be possible to find the leader without risk factor of life lost. It all depends on how quickly we can do these two cities. Or one.
Personally, I have a little bit more confidence in taking care of the army.
Strange optimism, but okay.
Yeah.
Oppo then states, either way, likely going to involve a fight or things of that nature.
I
I'll let
think
you
this
guys
is going to
vote.
be the hardest.
Opal,
thing.
we do know that if we go to Verta, we will be dealing with your family to some degree.
Are you talking to Ada or Opal?
Opal.
Probably. But, you know, we'll break the branches when we get to the tree.
I don't.
Here for you if we do go that way. So
It's fine.
So are we still stopping in Isle first before we go?
Whisper does state probably the best idea.
Okay. Dust, you want to? I guess you guys can go to the magic store, or grab one of those scrolls if they have one. They shouldn't be too expensive, I believe. I still need to hand this ring off to Jillian and before we leave. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dust, you go to the magic store with a few other people, depending on who wants to go. The matron does state, blanking on the word, merchant does state, that'll be around 3,000 gold. A little cheaper than most stores, but it'll get you where you need to go as long as you know the location.
Okay.
I'll pay for the teleportation scroll. I will also ask if she has a book on blacksmithing.
I believe I do. Yes, she does. Yes, a few studying books here and there. Mainly magical, though, but I do have a blacksmithing book. That's only 50 gold, though.
Okay.
I will pay for that out of my own pocket. And then I'm going to ask her if she happens to have a spell book for more of the a crafter.
Hmm.
So not
what kind of crafter?
so much more of like a more of a utility for utility spells. A little bit more on the crafting. I'm a jeweler, but I'm branching out with my crafting, and I'm wanting to potentially have access to other spells, and so maybe a spell book doesn't have to be too high level, just with a couple of spells, lower level spells.
We do have this spell book that someone traded in for a good amount of money. It does have 1 level 2 spell, 2 level 1s, and 3 cantrips inside, but that is roughly 300 gold.
Hmm.
And I will stay at a game. It's basically you start with those spells.
Okay. Yes. No. I'll do that.
Yeah.
So.
It would be in the wizard's spell list, by the way. That being said, though, if you're not able to cast wizard level spells, you can cast these guys once. Afterwards, you need to find a way to able to do it.
Okay.
Except for the cantrips. I'm fine with you having 3 newly known cantrips.
Yeah, no. This is more of like I'm trying to get a spell book of just essentially spells that I'm not using as spell scrolls one shot.
Yeah.
But this is something that I won't be able to use immediately.
Mm.
It's just kind of like there's just a little mechanic that I'm wanting to try out.
Yeah.
But it won't be. I won't be able to do it for a while.
Yeah.
So.
By the way, it's kind of hard to find a used spell book because people like to keep their spells, and this is a pretty good price.
No, this is very much more along the lines of somebody found a spell book, they're not able to use it, they
traded it in for cash. Yes.
Yeah, they just traded it in for cash because they cannot use it. So.
Very much correct.
And I wasn't expecting anything huge.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
All right then. Handing her the cash, anything of that nature. Ada, is there anything you're buying?
No, she's probably just gonna look around.
Yeah. Looking around, you find a few things here and there that you're interested in, or not, entirely up to you. You do find a spell book that continues to talk with you, or talk to you. You're not entirely sure. No one else hears it. You find a sword, dark embered flame, smoke coming through it. No one else sees that. Concerning. You see a blade also whispering to you in an angelic voice. No one else hears it. And you see a book that's glowing in nature. Oh, wait, that's to your side, and you already have that book. It's been doing that for a while.
It's glowing?
Yeah. It, has a small shimmering shine to it.
Wait, the Book of Angels or the...
The Book of Angels.
Like, it's always been like that, or it just started right now?
You're not too sure.
Can Ada pick up the book and examine it?
Picking up the book and examining it, you can tell that it has something newly written inside, which is weird because this book shouldn't have something newly written inside. If you've ever held a book or had a book for quite some time, you can tell how it's been opened or how it creases or how it should crease, especially if it's your favorite book. Flipping through it to see if there's anything inside that's new. At the very start of the book itself, there is what feels like a fresh page, as if something new has been written inside. In it, you can read it if I think you understand Celestial.
No. Dust does. I
In it,
believe.
you do see a new page written and inscribed on something. You're not entirely sure what this means, but it has a pictograph of someone currently carrying a blade weapon, lunging at something else that is foggy and mist, just indicating an enemy. And this individual striking at this enemy with a holy radiant light bursting in front of it. You can't read, but you can tell that this is something interesting.
Is it about the sword that's calling out to Ada?
No. I'll tell you immediately no.
Okay.
I'll just tell you outright those things that were calling towards you were either blessed items or cursed items.
Oh, great. Ada's gonna call over to Dust. Dust, hey, can you read this for me? You read Celestial, right?
Yeah. I read Celestial.
Okay. Ada's gonna show her the book. This appeared out of nowhere.
You open the book and you do see a the other pages aren't yellowed, but they're more tan than white. This one is more newly white, as if it's been freshly printed. In it, you do read some filigree about a warrior standing the ground against the undead, blah, blah, blah. And then you read the passage known as Holy Smite. You can tell that the wielder of this book now can cast this attribute once a day, recharges on a short or long rest. The attribute means that upon a hit of either magical, which is interesting, or physical contact upon an enemy, 2d8 radiant damage can be included upon that hit.
I will proceed to tell Ada that. I was just like, wow, that's impressive. And it's really strange that it also works with magic, too. For you.
Huh. Well, okay, that's new. All right. Well, thank you.
Congratulations.
Sorry, I made it. No.
Very.
I love the meme.
Yeah. That's what I was talking about.
I don't even know how Ada would use the spell, would she? I guess for the undead, yes.
Like you
Yeah.
have it.
Yeah.
You don't not have it. The wielder of the book has it.
So wait, so anyone that holds the book or anyone that's connected to the book?
You don't know. It does have a lot of filigree words to it. Dust and Ada, roll insight.
Oh boy. Alright.
Okay. Both of you can understand that the meaning of these words. Upon the caster of set on high, the wielder of blade in hand, and magic of wealth can imbue holy radiant spirits beyond on high. Just indicates the person holding the book. Or is attuned to the book.
Oh. Okay.
So if like Dust is holding it, he's not attuned. But 30 minutes later, he would be attuned.
Okay, I see. Alright. It's
Yeah.
gonna close the book.
You close it. It's very weird that something newly has been written in it, by the way. That's one of the main things I've been trying to hint at.
Yeah,
Yeah.
At the exact same time, you would have no current way of figuring that one out. But that's the thing that's happened. But again, you can do this once every rest. Which is good. That being said, though,
Does it have the ability that I put down there also?
Also, by the way, if you hit undead, it does an extra 1d8. Nikolai, you wouldn't know this, but out of game, yes.
Okay.
Oh, this.
That being said, though, you guys acquire your things. Nikolai, you find Jillian. Currently, it would be early morning, so she'd be doing physical therapy. So you can meet her during her session. She like greets you.
I didn't know if I was beating her yet. Okay. Hi.
Hi. I think you probably would have met her training beforehand.
Yeah.
To her right is a 8 foot tall Goliath woman, very strong, passionate about her, work and helping out people in need.
I'll shake your hand.
Very strong again.
Okay.
Very strong.
I try to be as like macho and like grip, like give a firm handshake as I can.
She nods and then looks towards Jillian. States that she'll be to the side in case you need her, but after speaking with, she knows you've been dating, but she always says your friend. You don't know why. Your friend here, in the next 10 minutes, we'll continue on with the class. Jillian nods and turns back towards you. Is there something you need?
Yeah.
I was going to visit you in a couple of hours to say goodbye to you and the rest of the group.
Yeah, I don't know if we might be leaving a little bit soon because I think the situation, we got some intel, so we're probably gonna be teleporting out rather soon. So.
Okay, understandable. Just make sure you don't die out there.
I'll do my best. She says that, I'll like give her a peck kiss kind of thing, and then I'll also pull out of my pocket and then the ring, and I'm just gonna nonchalantly be like, hey, hold out your hand.
Sure. She holds out her hand.
And I drop the ring in her hand. So this has just been more of like a sentimental thing. You can remind you of me. It's just a protection ring. So.
Thanks. I actually had something for you as well.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. She like goes over towards where her gear would be. She then presents you after a little bit with a laminate box.
Okay.
You open the box and inside is a necklace and a feather. The feather is made out of what looks like maybe porcelain. You're not entirely sure. It could be metal that looks far more fragile than it would be. You're not Nikolai, how artsy are you?
Artsy? As in like the fine arts?
Yes.
Or like the arts of historical arts?
The fine arts.
I'd say probably like maybe a 6 out of 10.
Okay, that's not knowing nothing. Based off of this fine, detailed work and the rest of the things you have done, and you know Dust well enough that you've seen some of the things he has made. This thing is expensive, or at the very least, is very well made. You're not entirely sure what its worth is, but it's definitely some detailed work. This is something symbolical. You're not entirely sure what the symbolism means. A feather can mean a lot of things to various cultures. Sometimes it means marriage. Other times it means a sorrowful farewell. Other times it means a joyous journey ahead. With Nikolai, you like have all these thoughts and you're not entirely sure what that means. You just know it's beautiful.
Nice. It's very nice. I appreciate it.
I certainly hope so.
Yeah, so I guess the ring means we're official? Yeah, that's what it means. Yeah.
She more or less giggles and does state, I would certainly hope so. We have been recording for about a day and a half now.
I didn't know what to do, and I felt like this was the best way to always feel like I'm there and protecting you in some way.
And I'm glad for it. I will tell you, though, that the feather itself does something magical. Hopefully it never needs to be used, but it does allow the wielder of it to come back to life with 1 HP. And I pray it never needs to be used.
Okay. Thank you. Do I just keep it on me? I can't have it in my bag of holding, right?
It would need to be worn. It's not
Okay.
out of game. It needs to be worn. It's not an attunement item, so you just have it. But once the ability
Okay.
is used up, it is gone. The necklace still
Gotcha.
remains, but the magical component is gone.
Gotcha.
Yeah. For all intents and purposes, Nikolai, you currently have Reckless Endurance, I believe is the name. Or Orcish Endurance? One of the two.
Okay. So like, is
Basically,
it like
when you
okay,
go
every
down
time,
to 0,
yeah.
you instead go to 1.
And does that cancel out an automatic death?
It might, depending on how you die.
Gotcha.
Like if someone uses Power Word Kill and you're below 100 health, it wouldn't cancel that out. But if someone hits you with an axe and you only have 17 health left and it does 20, it would cancel that out.
I'm thinking like if you had like, basically I'm on half HP, so I'm like at 50, and then somebody does Disintegrate, and then it does like, and it does like 100, or it does like 100, or it doesn't, just like 80 damage or something. Or how much damage would it have to do? It'd have to do like 100 or something, but.
Yeah, basically once you go negative your health, you auto die. I'm gonna say for Disintegrate, it'll negate that, but you'd be unconscious.
Gotcha. It would negate the Disintegrate. So like if you go Disintegrate, because it would turn you to dust because you'd go below HP, it would negate the Disintegrate. Okay, gotcha.
Which means your friends, if they're still alive somehow, would also be able to help you.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. You spend some time until the 10 minutes are up of her break. The Goliath woman does come back and state that, she needs to get him back to her regiment.
And I would give her like a goodbye kiss and then head on, trying to leave.
Yeah.
As slowly as I can, but being like sad that I have to go.
Yeah. Same. Jillian watches you as you walk away. Eventually, the Goliath woman does push you out of the room. And they get back to training. I don't know if Nikolai has any information on Goliath culture or the things like that nature. If you had to guess why she keeps calling you her friend, it means you haven't won a battle to win her over or something of that nature. Again, different cultures, different kind of things. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Jillian isn't a Goliath, so you're not trying to woo her in that way. Unless you are, dependent. All the while, Dust, you're able to meet with Emily. Do you take Ada and the rest of the squad with you?
Oh, no. Dust would definitely be going off on his own.
Oh, that would have been awkward.
Yeah. Ada, Fauna, Whisper, Opal all head back towards the location, but who knows, they might stop a different way beforehand. As Dust heads over towards Emily. Right now, it's early morning. She would be at the elementary school, currently serving breakfast.
Okay, did not expect that one.
Well, technically, it's the school. It doesn't have division of elementary.
Well, I just did not expect the school, of all places, that she would be at. It's, not surprising. I just didn't expect it.
Yeah. You've met her grandparents beforehand, so they tell you where to meet her. Oh! Easily enough, you get there. You get a day pass, even though it wouldn't make sense. In that point in time, you easily get in. Visit Emily currently at the lunch line with 2 other individuals. An elderly woman with a nice bun, tiefling horns, and, age within her face. Another one is a middle-aged mom currently probably helping out with her son or daughter or others. Class, I forget what they're called, parent volunteer, I think that's what it is. And Emily just helps out the city, so she's there.
I'll just kind of jump in line and help out as well.
Yeah. The mother was about to suggest maybe Emily taking her 10-minute break, but nope, you instead begin to help out. So while serving and helping cook and clean, she does state, I'm glad you came. I was going to visit you in a few hours, though.
Yeah, we'll definitely be leaving, but we might be leaving a little quicker than expected. So we'll try to stick around for a couple more hours just before we leave. So.
Well, I'm just glad you said goodbye.
I know I wanted to make sure.
How perceptive is dust? Not high enough.
Oh no, I'm not very perceptive.
Yeah.
I'm just like he's definitely torn. He's just like, I really don't want to leave you.
Yeah. I'm not talking about her. I'm talking about your surroundings. You basically state this in your words, and she does state, I understand, and I'm glad you said this. It has been some time since I've gotten serious with someone, and I do hope this can continue.
Yeah, no, it definitely will. If things do become rough and you need to leave the city at any point, feel free to go to Yepta. My family is there. They will be able to take care of you and your grandparents if need be. Hopefully it doesn't come to that, but know that they're always there, and mother would have it no other way.
Well, hopefully nothing happens to cause this forcefully, but I'd certainly love to meet your mother.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's been great the past couple of days, and I've given her everything that I'd made for her over the past couple of days.
Yeah.
And I was just like, there's so much, and it will be dangerous, but I'll keep in touch. Keep in touch with you. I just have to move very quickly with my next task, so. But hopefully we'll be back sooner rather than later.
I certainly hope so.
And I'll.
What?
Oh, I was just gonna say, and pretty much it'll just be kind of more small talk and for a little bit.
Soon enough, she plants a kiss on your cheek, and you more or less continue small talk until you head out. And I'm just gonna play this out because I just want to do this. Just when you were talking to her and telling her go to my parents' house, I'm sure they'd be able to protect you. In the background, the two other people that were working the lunch line were small talking, and the mother does state, "Oh, I certainly hope she had found someone great. Oh, and already talking about visiting neighbors and family. Wow. Did you know about this? No, I didn't know about this." Some of the little kids, while you're also talking, are more or less looking up to her. She's basically like a big sister to all of them. Some of them are doing the adorable kid thing of looking towards you guys, starry-eyed, talking whispered things do you think they've kissed yet? No, that's... And ooh, gross. All that. Eventually, when you leave, a small girl named Heather goes over towards Emily, and she does state, is that your boyfriend? Yes, he is. And then she runs over towards the other kids. See, guys, I told you. As that storyline plays out.
I think I would have gotten that last part of the little girl running up and saying, "Oh, is he your boyfriend?"
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
I will say Dust missed just about everything else but that last one.
Yeah. You begin to head back to meet with the rest of the gang. Ada, while walking the streets and looking towards supposed individuals and hopefully non-cursed items, I did mention the blue man was coming to Isle, not Hythe.
Okay, I got that confused. My bad.
No, it's fine. Which is oh so easily confused because Isle is also a city in Isle. Which is a dumb choice of mine, but I made it anyways.
Hey, there's some places in fantasy where the name of the capital is the same name of the kingdom.
I understand, which is why I named it Isle, but it's very confusing. I'm just gonna say he said I'm gonna come to the kingdom in a few days, so he's within the kingdom's borders at this point in time.
Okay, got it.
But you look towards Hythe, and unfortunately, he is not there. Looking at
Sorry, my bad. I forgot something.
You good?
We're good.
okay.
Okay.
Looking around and detecting magic to see if there's anything else you need to investigate. Within the item shop, you can tell sword cursed, book cursed, your own book technically cursed, but in the holy nature of cursing, which just means blessed. And other radiant sword blessed. Ada, you can understand that the weird feelings you have towards some items give you the innate way of registering either a curse or a blessing. Until you identify it, you don't really know which one, but you now naturally have this skill set, which is very useful.
Oh. Okay, nice. Alright. So, sword, book, curse, of angels. Cursed in a good way.
Blast.
Yeah. Along with the other sword, right?
Yes, which is also blessed.
Okay, I don't believe Ada knows how to fight with the sword. So I don't believe she can get it. How do I...
Are you proficient? Oh, it's simple melee weapons.
The sword she was looking at was a long sword or a broadsword.
Oh, okay, yeah, I am. Alright, she is in simple weapons.
Yeah.
So that would count? Oh, okay.
Yeah, just look at the simple weapons. You can't do too big of weapons.
If broad or long sword meet those skill checks, then that'd be fine.
I don't really know.
I don't remember it. I think long sword is finesse.
No. So longsword is a martial melee
Okay.
weapon, so it's too big. Broadsword. I want to say, just looking. Okay, most swords are melee weapons. But like things like a hammer, mace, sickle, spear, hand axes, clubs, that's kind of the things that, and javelins, that's the kind of things that Ada can use.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like you can still use this Ada, but you wouldn't have proficiency within the blade's own repertoire.
So she would have to learn it.
Yeah. You would also have to buy it.
True. The out of game question is: would they have time for Ada to learn how to use a sword fight
On the road.
at the same range? Yeah.
If you want a long sword, we have a +2 long sword.
Oh, that's true.
So if you want to start to learn how to use a long sword, you can just use the +2 long sword that we got.
That's technically correct. You don't have to buy this weapon if you don't want to.
Okay, Ada won't buy the weapon then.
Okay.
Yep.
Buyer's
You're probably
remorse.
done.
Dun, dun, dun. You never know. Okay.
Know what it does? Oh no!
Actually, do you have the spell identify?
Let me check. I don't know if I actually have it in the character sheet.
Or I guess you could just ask the merchant.
Yeah.
You would have to pay for the
Identify
services, which is
sword.
50 gold.
Yeah, Ada would do that. You would pick up the sword, bring it to the shopkeeper, and of course hand her the 50 gold and ask about it.
Cursed or blessed sword?
The blessed one.
Okay, makes more sense.
Yeah.
She holds on to it and goes, all right then. Identifies it and goes, huh. Strange I couldn't identify it beforehand. Surprised you could. While this does have a magical attribute to it, it is known as a Holy Avenger. It is quite a rare sword to find. I highly doubt I'd be able to come across one beforehand. I don't know why it now resonates with magic, but that's a thing, I suppose. I suppose since I don't really, at the top of my head, know the value of this sword, unless I talk with a blacksmith, I can sell it to you for, I suppose, 2,000 gold? Okay, and with that option, we will take our 5-minute break here.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say Ada can't afford it anyway.
I'll be right back. I'm going to say Dust is still with you. He's like outside the shop. But yeah, I'll be right back. Yeah,
Are wholly undead.
I always leave that up to the player how they want to play the character.
I mean, Ada wouldn't kill anybody, but if it's undead, I guess it doesn't count.
They were already dead.
They're
So-
already dead.
I wish Nikolai was there. He'd give you like he'd be like he knows the I don't know if he knows the potential, but he'd be like,
Okay.
that looks like a really cool sword.
I gotta quickly grab some more water.
Oh yeah, I should probably get water too. I'll be back.
I'm okay. Ada, me as a player right now, I am
you mad at me? I'm
trembling. I am trembling
I'm
because
sorry.
this is so exciting, and I'm not the one that gets the sword.
You're giving the. I just realized Dogma is giving the inexperienced player a very powerful sword.
Yes.
Raisins.
Dog. Reasons.
So another
Oh,
reason.
God.
So two reasons. So he's giving you a really good sword at a good price. I'm not gonna say more than that, but there's a reason why. So that means that you probably should use it because there's gonna be something that you gotta use it against.
Or you can
Yeah.
just leave it.
Or you could just ignore it and
Or
then
you can totally ignore it.
make me feel like Kyle lonely.
I ruined Nikolai, but just.
That being said, go get your water.
Oh, Dogma.
Yeah, what's up?
How much did I get for the bands? No, the base was 1,000.
You never opened your pocket money, so you don't know until you open. Nah, I'm just kidding. The valued price of it was 1,000, but because you did such a good job, as far as you could tell, as far as he could tell, not you could tell, he then gave you an additional 1,500 gold.
Oh, okay.
So in total, 2,500 gold.
Okay.
Yeah, the Marquis is not exactly the smartest person.
Yeah. And then from the side jobs that I did, how much did I pick from that? Not counting the one that I did for Nikolai.
In total, roughly around 200 gold. After not disconnecting, after material costs and things of that nature, roughly 200 gold, which actually is pretty good. We're like small things here and there.
Okay. I just wanted to get that all taken down.
Yeah, you mainly did that for advertisement as well as helping out the people around town.
Yep.
Oh, that reminds me. For sure, Emily would have asked you about the posters and things.
And I would have been just like, I knew Nikolai, my friend, was going to do something, but I didn't expect that.
I wonder what Dust is gonna say when he asks about the posters.
Yeah, they're very apparent.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. So it's just very much like, I did not do that. That was my friend.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say no.
I mean, with his 22
man.
persuasion, like, it's been all done legally, so you're not going to face any backlash.
Yeah. Dogma, I've gone a little bit meme crazy because the last 6 memes are all because for the first one is because of the book, and then the next 5 are because of the sword.
Oh God. Okay. I'm ready when you guys are. I'm back, by the way.
I think I'm ready. I'll be fine. I'm okay.
There's like a part of me as a player just like, just that one small corner in your mind, just like, man, I could totally screw things up right here and right now and just not buy the sword. Just for a joke. Just not buy it, but it's totally gonna be bought.
Mm-hmm.
It's up to you.
I'm buying it.
You don't have
Learn
to.
my brain.
I
She's gonna need to learn how to use it.
Yeah. Again,
Yeah.
legitimately, you don't have to. It's just there. There are reasons why it's there, but that's not to say you have to buy it. But anyways, we'll continue. Back at the merchant shop, she does explain. From what I can tell, this is a holy avenger, at least from standard viewing. It does have some type of radiant effect of dealing 2d10 damage, and it is a +3 weapon. Normally, these things can't really discern everything of the nature of the blade, but normally these things are quite pricey. Unless I get a true blacksmith to tell me an exact price. I suppose since you are the one that found it, 2,000 gold for the standard +3 sword, and you get like the magical things as a bonus. I'm not sure why I wasn't able to identify it before, though. That's a new one.
Oh. Hang on, give me. Is Dust outside?
Like he's currently, he's currently like planning on what route to take towards Emily's place.
Okay, Ada's gonna go outside for a second. Dust. Can I
Yeah.
use the party fund, please?
How much in the party fund and what is it for?
1,000. I'm assuming a really powerful sword. I don't
2,000.
know. I'll pay for half of it.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, and I'll give Ada the 1,000 from the party fund.
Thank you. Right, Ada's gonna go back to the counter.
Yeah, you go back to the counter while Dust walks away towards Emily's, and then Dust thinks to himself, "I've never seen her use a sword before."
Yeah.
And continues to walk. Ada, you return back to the shop, and so are you gonna buy it, or should I head out?
I'm going to buy it.
All right. She rings you up. Technically, the blade was a +3 sword, like that much she could identify with, but she had for some reason, knowledge of the rest until you brought it up to her. She is honestly baffled, but she sells you it for the price she had it beforehand. She hands you the receipt and the blade itself and goes, "Okay, weird. I'm usually good with these things."
Ada is also totally baffled, but you just had the feeling I should get this.
Yeah.
I don't know how to use it. I should get this.
Maybe train with someone else that has bladesmanship work. I don't know. Right now, I'm baffled. I need to recheck all my items, see if anything else is amiss. It's gonna take a couple of hours.
Yeah. Do you need help with that?
I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, I could help. I mean, I kind of owe you for bringing the sword out of nowhere.
Sure. Is there anything else that calls towards you that doesn't state that it's magical? And then you remember the cursed items.
Ada would bring those up to the shopkeeper. There's these two things.
Yeah. You wander around the shop, find the 2 cursed items that you found before, that don't have the same descriptors as the feeling you have. She looks at them, identifies them, goes, "Why are these appearing now? Okay, I'm not selling you these 2 items. These are very dangerous to the wielder. One of them quite literally makes you attack everyone else around you. And the other, you know what? Why am I telling you this? This is bad promotion for my shop." She takes them to the back of the room.
I mean, I wasn't
back of the shop.
I wasn't going to tell anyone.
Just want to be safe.
Okay. I have no one to tell about the items if you're going to keep them.
Fair enough. Now I need to find a witch to uncurse these. Right. I'm closing up shop soon, so if there's anything else you need to buy, doing it now would be beneficial.
Okay, I'll probably just tell my friends about you closing the shop down for a bit.
All right. Have fun with your new sword. She closes the shop up early, saying out to lunch on the sign. She walks away, muddling to herself something about finding a witch to curse these items, and how could she not find these things beforehand. Whisper, Fauna, and Opal are all waiting outside for you to return, and then you make your way into the city to look for this man in blue. All the while, your friends eventually all gather up at the inn where everyone else is as well. And before anything else happens, Ada, you have the sword. Dust, you have everything you need, and Nikolai the same. You would likely want more time alone with your respective individuals, but, adventure calls for all individuals to be there. That being said, Opal just looks towards Nikolai. Okay, before we head out, she then hands you, Nikolai, what appears to be an amulet on a platinum chain. Okay, scribbles down the silent spell around it. I'm going to say Fauna casts it truly. And looking towards you guys, she does state, okay, bad news, good news. Nikolai, good news or bad news first?
Good news?
The good news is I was able to reduce the potent archaic attributes you now have to a optimal degree that you can use some of the skills you now possess without causing your curse or whatever you are now to mutate you further. With the amulet itself, it is able to give you resistance to poison, add a +1 to your melee attacks, increase your strength by a +1, increase your dexterity by a +1. You'd still be able to fly, so, bonus. But it would just be your same walking speed.
Okay. Interesting.
Right. Any further pulling on that type of magic, though, i.e., if you want to enhance the current skills you have with the current skills you gained, would cause a mutation, and I can't fully stop that. That being the case, though, if you fully do mutate into the new you, mutate, I'm just stating as a fact. It's not actually what's happening. It's just you're slowing down the process of whatever you are now, or at the very least restricting it to a degree. If you do somehow fully turn and you feel yourself fully turning, there is a kill switch within the device. It would not kill you, but it would get rid of your magic. And there is no coming back from that. Not anything that I've researched at the very least.
Okay, so what my options are: get rid of my magic entirely, or not
Nikolai,
live?
Nikolai, that's a fail-safe in case if the corruption becomes too much.
Okay.
It will essentially, as a last resort, it will kill not only the demon part of you, but it will kill that, but as a price, it'll also take away all your magic.
So, sorry, I zoned out for a second. She gave me a necklace, or what'd she give me as an item, or like as a weighted
Amulet.
An
amulet.
Okay, just like
What I used to.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So, and it's just like you. Is there I don't want to have to use it ever, but just in case.
Yeah, and Dust, you yourself helped her work the, design and structure of it while she implemented the arcanic knowledge on it. But you yourself had to, imbue the magic because she doesn't have any.
Okay.
She does state, this is honestly the best I can do.
Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm sorry if it was a lot of work and taxing. I didn't want to. I didn't think that Ada had a solution that was, or something else that she could do. I didn't even know that was an option.
Right. Well, hopefully you don't need to use it to that dangerous of a degree. I'm not entirely sure. And Ada, as this happens, your not your now, but formerly your guardians do emerge, and you're all able to communicate with them. The guardians do offer their assistance if a price is met, and the guardians would be able to give. They don't say this, but just to make it clearer, the guardians would allow Nikolai to tap into the attributes that he now holds further, but the exact same thing would happen. They're only able to slow things down, not permanently get rid of them. But a price must be paid for that.
And I'm that price.
They would more or less in games tell you that we would be able to assist your friend in turn, and some of the attributes can be allotted to them, but overall they would slowly continue forwards, progressing even further if they continue to use even greater strength.
So, what? I'm trying to ask them if what kind of am I basically limited to the magic that I had before, but just if I use any of the physical attributes like wings or sight, that wouldn't those are able to be used, but if I try to tap in to prevent something bad from happening, that's when something gets worse.
Yes.
Okay. So the flying and the devil sight, or I don't know what kind of sight it is. Dark vision, devil, or
I think it's double sight.
It is devil sight. Yeah.
Okay. Then I use that. Those are fine. Those don't really hurt me. They're just side effects. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and they would basically try to, whatever speed that it's progressing at, it would be halted to a point.
It would definitely be a fraction of what it could do. Their air quotes bargain would be better than Opal's. You'd be able to tap into more strength, but at the exact same time, whether you're aware of this or not, a price must be paid. However, this is more or less Ada's bargain, so their choice.
I personally feel that we should go with Opal's route. Yes, it's not as big, but the initial price is smaller. Nikolai will just have to rein in how much it reins in how much he depends on it.
That being said, there's also a secondary side effect that no one knows about.
Yeah.
Ah, boy. Yeah.
I'll tell you once you guys make your choice, but it is something no one has considered until just now.
It's not the hand, is it?
No.
Or the slowing muting his body? Okay.
There's also putting the trust in Opal. And
if you don't trust her.
Yeah. It's putting that goodwill towards her.
Yeah, also true.
And I personally think that that's something that Opal needs.
You can think that.
Personally. That is just personally.
Yeah. The Guardians then state. So is that your choice?
Can I want to try something. So it's been another day, right?
It's the same last day.
Oh, it's the same last day. When I did my Tides of Chaos, I used that after on the last day.
I think he used it on the 2 days prior, so you still have it.
Okay, cool. So before we do this deal, so we're deciding whether or not we want to go with Opal's option, because if we go with the other one, we're not going to use Opal.
Like, you'll still have the item, it'll just be basically useless to you.
While we're making this deal, I want to do like an insight check on. I want to try to see like how Opal is feeling in this moment. If she's like thinking that if we don't pick hers, or is she like kind of indifferent, or how is she taking this?
You can roll insight.
Yeah, I'm gonna use it.
Hard to tell.
That's a bad roll.
I know, it was a bad roll.
Come on.
That's decent.
That's a little better.
Still hard to
I'm
tell.
gonna use bend luck also because I can.
Still hard to tell. But the way she looks at things, she's not like, oh, if you don't choose me, I'm gonna hate you forever. It's more like, I spent a lot of hours on this thing. I don't care which way he chooses it, but I am so tired. I don't care. She's more or less indifferent. It's just like tired.
Interesting.
Like, if you don't choose hers, it's more like, I guess I can use it on something else, or I don't know, retroactively fit it to do something else. I'm just tired.
Nikolai, whatever deal you make, I'm fine with whatever consequence there is. I'm willing to.
I don't know.
I'm willing to make the deal.
What are you trading away? Your memories?
You don't know that?
Oh, I don't know. What are you trading away? Sorry, backpedal.
Well, it's not my soul, thankfully. I guess my bad memories. I got them taken away once. I could do it again.
I mean, I don't know what that means to you, but I want us as a group to be cohesive, and I want there to be a sense of morale improvement in the way that we function, because we're going into something that we don't know how hard it's going to be, and I want us all to have the best chance to fight this thing that is starting to consume the whole entire nation that we're in. From what Whisper said to us?
Are we talking about the whole end of the world ordeal?
Well, I mean, we're talking about dealing with whatever this zombie thing is and whatever kind of leader that we have to go fight. And if we're somebody that we want to go try to fix this, I want us to all know that we can trust each other more than ever. So,
sounds like a project. All right, so what are you doing?
I think it means more if I say that your device that you made, Opal, is what counts, and we can't go really back on Ada's decision. So,
I mean, if that amulet breaks, then it's gonna be the whole thing over again.
If it breaks, then well, I think
it won't break.
It won't.
We'll find an answer for that. Together.
We got the amazing Dust here that knows every kind of gem in the world, and we have the opal that knows how to tinker with every single magical item that there is. And we have Whisper, the sneakiest person in the world. Fauna, the guardian of nature. And Ada, a amazing warrior that can heal and is some kind of fighter that doesn't really know how to fight.
I don't think you know that.
We know that I don't know if she is.
I don't know where you're going with this, but
I'm trying to say that we all have special abilities and we all have things that we can do, and we just need to tap into those things. More so fighting some kind of unknown enemy. So, no. We don't need to give away something again. We can find out how to fight these things with the abilities we have. And I can keep this amulet.
Opal does like look around dust, look at you, Nikolai. Technically it can break, but it won't like cause you to turn full demon. It'll take time.
Good.
We can always fix it.
That's good. Okay, well.
Yeah, and the kill switch is used by a word you think in your mind. Or you say it out loud, depending on how dramatic you want to be.
Okay, well.
Goes back. The Guardians then look towards your team. Right, and that is the choice made. Correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay, well then. May you find refuge together. And hopefully, may you bring peace.
Are you gone forever now? Or will you ever be back?
Don't know when we will return, but we aren't gone forever. Until we meet again. If we meet again. They begin to turn away as time begins to go back to its normal flow of time. They vanish and everyone else begins to move back the way they were doing it. Jonathan's still putting away fruit. No, at this point he would have been done. He's currently reading a book. Looking at you guys, wondering why you guys are always in front of his shop / in.
Fine. I'm gonna get out of this shop. Oh my goodness. Bye, Jonathan.
You can't read his mind.
Well, he looked at us like, probably stared and like, why are you in our shop? And I'd
maybe.
probably just, I don't know.
Whisper then looks towards you guys. All right. Sure. Whatever. Looks towards Opal. Do you know if the amulet you made is foolproof? Again, if someone like breaks it with a sword or with magic, would probably break, but we can fix it. All right. Ada, do you know when your Crimson friend is gonna show up?
I don't know. Hopefully before we leave.
As you say that, Nikolai, you're currently like, fine, Jonathan, I'll leave. A nice young man comes over towards you, looks towards you. Pardon me, do you perhaps know Miss Ada, and is she still in town?
Miss Ada. Why so formal? She's inside.
Well, I don't know that well, so general titles will be more proper, but very well, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you could be more casual, I guess. I mean, well, if you want to be formal, that's up to you, but she's...
I suppose so. Should I call her then?
Ada.
Right. For some reason, knocks at the inn. Jonathan just shouts out. And then he doesn't hear it because it's too close to the silent spell. None of you hear him knocking. Politely waits.
Crimson, go in. They have a silent spell.
Oh, I would have to intrude.
Should we take that?
Oh my goodness.
Eventually, Whisper does.
Open the door.
Okay, sure. I was just gonna say, Whisper goes, right. It's probably not important. Let's find Nikolai. Then Nikolai, you barge inside.
Oh my, there's a guy out here, and he has a weird accent.
Okay.
I would think.
Whisper smudges the circle spell, so it dissipates and moves away. Dust, you look through the window.
He's looking for you, Ada.
See a nice enough man outside the window.
I'll just kind of motion to come in.
He nods. Then walks. No, I'm gonna. It's been a thing. Breaks through the window. Doesn't actually, but I wanted someone to do it.
God!
You wanted to do it.
Yeah, I wanted to do it. No, he goes through the door. He
Same.
goes in and goes, pardon, sorry about that. Don't actually know your name, sir. But I was informed that there was a silent spell here. Yeah, it's been broken. Excellent. Well then, Ada, correct? Did inform me that your rest of your team, I'm not entirely sure, would be here today. Well, he looks around and let me see if he rolls well with perception.
Wait, come on. Don't make it a 1. Alright. 18's okay.
14. Looks around and he looks towards both Whisper and Fauna for some reason. And nah, I'm not gonna make this a joke. 18 is good enough. Looks towards Whisper. Would you perhaps be part of the Talons? Currently reassigned, but yes, technically. Well then. My bosses did inform me that you are to return post-haste. Oh, right. It's been way more than 2 months. Yes.
Hey.
In fact, you are to return back to your post and be reassigned to your next mission. This is very sudden. Nonsense! We've been looking for you for about a month now.
Why does she have to go?
He looks towards you. It is her job?
But, I mean,
It is her job. She has to do it. But Whisper, if your next mission ever corresponds with, if your next mission corresponds with what we're doing, you're more than welcome to come with us. So.
Right. Crimson does look towards you and nods and goes and looks towards Whisper. Huh. Well, they did technically say if I found you, I could perhaps not find you for some time. And Whisper's gonna think about something. Dang it! Okay.
Dang, these are good.
You know, that's...
wait a second. Sorry. I'm gonna roll that and bend luck on his perception check.
That was an old.
That
That
was
I
a
would
little
get
slow, Nikolai.
I was in the moment.
I will tell you 15 would have centered on either Fauna or Whisper.
I didn't think about it. I'm sorry.
It's
okay.
fine. I
Okay.
rolled high enough with Whisper's current insight check on herself. You know what? Finding me in about, let's say, a month maybe would be more beneficial to the kingdom itself. If you understand what I mean, Crimson. Yes, that is my name. Oh, my apologies. I forgot to state. He then goes through the entire thing. I'm Crimson, blah, blah, blah. And then Whisper states, right, sure. Maybe give me a month, and then you can find me. I suppose I am willing to wait. After all, we have done well without you. No offense. Some taken, but okay. Excellent. Very good then. It's been a pleasure meeting all of you. Whisper, I will see you in a month. Hopefully you
Wait.
can do the tasks you have set upon yourself. If not, well, good luck. Or you can always retire from the Talons itself. No, it pays very well. Fair enough. Right then. Looks towards Ada, was about to call you Miss. Ada? And others? Wait for you guys to introduce yourselves. Some of you do, some of you don't. Right.
Yeah.
Pleasure to meet you all. And then he leaves.
Is that all you were looking for?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm glad I was able to help you, Crimson.
Take care then. Bye now.
Likewise. Oh, right. I do need the quill back.
Oh, right. Ada will pull out the quill and give it to Crimson.
Yeah, I'm the quill. Right then. Hands it over to Whisper. When your time is allotted. Right. Puts it away. Right then. Do you all take care?
Yeah.
Leaves.
Well, that went well.
I gotta get better at making those rolls, man. I gotta get better at perceiving things.
Whisper does state. Yeah. I would have left, but we're kind of needing the entire team for this undead armor thing, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And to be perfectly honest, after I leave, there's probably only 2 people in this group that are the best at gathering information. She doesn't name names. Right. I suppose we can use the teleportation spell and get to Isle as soon as possible.
Sure. That
Right.
sounds like a great idea. Who knows? I guess we all know Isle.
You all know
best.
Isle.
I guess Dust would be
Been there.
instantaneous
That's where we met
because
Fauna and Nora.
Dust, you could cast the spell very easily.
Okay. So, are you saying we don't need to know the teleportation circle?
No, so since you have an association with an item, i.e. the egg, you have an instantaneous 100% chance teleportation.
With this
Okay.
current spell that you have, it's not triggered by a circle. It's triggered by you knowing the location.
Okay.
So you know the
Personally.
item, the egg. So,
Yeah.
and you know it very well.
Yeah, I would
I
suggest
also-
not teleporting inside the castle, but okay.
That would be
Yeah, I guess you could teleport in that because you know that general location. So you could teleport wherever in that location.
Yeah.
And then I also have Bull's jewelry that I made her.
Yeah, that's also true.
Oh, there's
So,
also.
I'll ju-
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say the brooch, the Hope's contract brooch that
Oh yeah,
just gave full.
yeah, the Hope's contract. So, just kind of using those, I'll kind of get in with the general area of Isle. So
Okay.
I won't go. I won't be going for inside the castle. Maybe just outside. I'll be shooting for just outside the city. That way we don't land on top of somebody.
Yeah. You can easily travel there, but I want to see how close you get.
Yeah.
Just roll a d20. So while you're doing that, here are the attributes that you guys didn't think about. Because you chose Opal's amulet, Nikolai, instead of a radial effect of your wild magic, it is now going to be centralized around you again.
Okay, not bad.
Let's go! We get wild magic again! Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Thank you!
I mentioned it beforehand, but wild magic has been triggering around you instead of near you.
Oh, and I haven't even realized it.
Yeah, it's back again.
Man, so long. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Oh.
There's also a sacred
Wow.
thing that you don't know about.
And so if Nikolai becomes a sheep again, that would be the highlight of.
I can't. Well, yes, I actually can turn into a sheep now because I don't have it. I'm not a
He's not a changeling anymore.
I'm not a changeling.
Full human. With still the same attributes. That being said, though, Dust, you begin to use the spell, and all of you do vanish into mist. Not the. Maybe I should change that kingdom's name as well. Not into mist, but you vanish out of sight. Soon enough, you get into the border of Isle, and you teleport right in front of the castle. Not so close that immediately you are seen as a threat, but close enough that you are an alleyway away. No visible viewpoint whatsoever to a guard.
Nice.
You are within the city border, but not so close that, people would be worrying about strangers coming to town. Whisper
We
does
made it?
state, that's good. Where to first?
I guess we need to go.
Should we go paintball or should we split up? Or what do we
No, I think the first thing that we should do is we should report in to the king.
Yes.
And then that way we can get
Does
a general
Whisper need to be with us or not?
idea of what, with that conversation that we just had with Crimson, what do you think, Whisper?
Technically, I am not governed underneath the king specifically.
Okay.
So you're not gonna get called out if you're with us, and that someone's gonna say, "Oh, you have to report here."
No. I am an assassin, and being a public figure, the king wouldn't know about me.
Okay.
Okay.
Other than
Very
I work
well.
for the kingdom.
Okay. Very well. That works. We
Right.
just don't want you to get caught because we value your decisions.
I am very good at my job. Other than not showing up to my job, apparently. Because I forgot the time frame. Which is
Yeah.
why someone had to look for her. Crimson was the result of her not making it to work for a month.
That's funny.
Given they told her only for a couple of months,
Yeah.
because they were like, we're not even sure how long this is going to be, and so
Yeah.
Yeah. But soon enough, you make it to the castle,
Yes.
get the whole spiel of who are you, why are you trespassing, and eventually you show them the paperwork and documents that you have. And I think you also have a badge divined under Hope's contract, your team
Yeah.
name.
Yeah.
They look through the files and easily find you guys. Soon enough, you make it to King Rello and General Tynes, as well as King Queen Pearl. Sorry. You see Menno there, who you may or may not remember, which is fine. The king then looks towards you all. Oh, welcome. It's been quite some time.
Indeed.
yeah. No, we had a good break, and now we're back.
Mm.
And we're letting you know where we're heading.
Right. Oh, very good then. He gives you the detailed information of what Whisper has already told you. Teams have been sent, but so far no one has been responding over a week. Right now there are troops, a small division heading over there, but they are expected to make it there within 3 days or so. He tells you about the rest of the things that you already know, but he never tells you about the information that Whisper is the only one that has.
Yeah,
For obvious reasons.
for obvious. So we definitely have more information than the king
Yes.
at this point. We're not going to say that we have more information.
Yeah. If you do, there's a potential breach within ranks, which would qualify for an inquisition, which would be problematic for your team.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah. You keep that hush hush.
Yeah, very hush hush.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we'll say that we're heading to Berta, asking if there is a teleportation scroll, and if there happens to be a wizard who would know that. That way we could get there in quicker, or at least, if not Berta, Jaganpra, so that we can get there much quicker.
With Verta, we do have the High Cleric. I suppose I can remove them from their post as to bring them here and send you all on your way.
We can above game. I thought with teleportation you don't necessarily have to be the one to leave.
No, but someone needs to cast it.
Mm-hmm.
She'd be the one that needs to cast it.
Okay. We could actually go to her, and there are a few things that we need to do in the city to actually prepare to go. So.
Well, I suppose you can do all of that, and she can meet you here.
Mm-hmm.
Either way would work. Unless there's a reason you don't want to.
No, we can do that here. I was just thinking more of convenience for the high priest.
Oh, nonsense. She has her testing things she does. But other than that, she rarely has anything to do. She's quite old and can't move about other than during festival hours and the like.
And inside of all of our heads, bull crap.
Like, Dust, you would know that mages can, like, revamp themselves and bring more vitality to them, but it's not permanent. If you had to guess, she is old, but she likes to enjoy herself, so from time to time she goes visit a festival, because you know she visited a festival. Revitalizes her life and body to the age where she was in her prime, and then almost beat you guys up. Well, technically one of you.
Yeah, okay.
At this point in time, she would not have that.
Okay.
She would just be a powerful cleric at this point. Very well then. Do what you need to do in town and meet back here when you decide to. That being said, I do suggest visiting my daughter. She did mention traveling about to meet you all, but since it was festival time, I could not allow her to move, since I did not know who would be on the road.
Makes sense, and we did want to see her as well.
Very good then. As you will then. Good luck. And hopefully we can take care of all this as soon as possible.
Yes.
Thank you.
I say we go visit Vol first, right after we had met with the king.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're already here.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
So,
can I ask the king if he knows of a question about teleportation stuff? Or I guess we're teleporting from the lady, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
I
didn't know if we had a teleportation circle so that we wouldn't have to go buy another scroll or not.
She'd be teleporting you.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I'd essentially asked so that we wouldn't have to spend another 3,000 plus for a teleportation scroll.
Yeah. She's essentially sending you there. She doesn't have to go, which she's not going to do. Again, the woman is 98 years old. Human.
Gotcha. Okay.
Even with magic and not enhancing her body, she'd be kind of frail. Would not do well in the fight. That being said, though, you guys know your way around the castle well enough that you can find Vol, and you do because you know where she lives.
Rock's there too? Nice.
Yeah.
No, he is?
Yes.
He's there.
As you round the corner and the door is open, you do hear Grok state, as I mentioned beforehand, my lady, again, we've traveled for a while. You don't have to do that thing while my dad's not here. Right, sorry. Force the habit. Vol, we can't allow you to travel, well, I suppose earlier during the month, but right now we're trying to investigate where the party is right now. Until we have a fine enough place they're at, we can't, have you gallivanting until we have a direct path. I guess it's just very boring here. Again, sorry. It's fine. How's your training going? It's going good. Thankfully enough. And hopefully I can be of some service to you now that I am your personal guard. You're fine. I have like 2 guards right in front of the doorway. They wave inside as you guys round the corner.
Yeah, and about that, like we heard. Well, you don't have to go too far. So we walk in.
Vol then looks towards you guys, so does Grok, and goes, "Yep, that's them." Vol rushes over, gives you guys a great big bear hug. Surprisingly enough, stronger than what she was beforehand. Very sturdy. As you well know, Vol is a druid, and she surprisingly enough gotten stronger than beforehand. She gives you all a hug, almost cracks Nikolai's ribs.
What?
To be fair, Ada is a tank, and Dust is technically a cat folk humanoid, and with cats, they can like slink around their body.
Okay.
You
Sure.
are also the one with the least amount of armor among the three of us.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, I do have a decent strength, so I mean.
Like I said, almost. She does. She doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah. Like Dust can wiggle, and Ada has good strength. Sorry, Nikolai. If it makes you feel any better, I'm going to say she almost cracks Opal's ribs as well. Unfortunately, Whispers too dexterous, and Fauna, well, she's too sturdily built. She does. Vol does state, "It's been a while. How are you guys?"
Doing pretty good. We managed to accomplish quite a bit. So, and fun enough, I have a new sister.
Cut out.
Yep.
There you go.
Oh,
We're
I
back.
cut it out. Okay. I'll just kind of say, and fun enough, I have a new sister. Fauna here was adopted by my parents.
Oh, I don't think she's ever met Fauna. She comes over and goes, nope, not even during the meeting when you guys were leaving. It's a pleasure to meet you, Fauna. She extends her hand out. Fauna looks towards her, looks towards you, looks towards Ada.
Oh no, she's fine. She's safe.
Yeah.
She's a good
Fauna,
person.
go ahead and shake her hand. She's meeting you.
Okay. Takes both hands, grabs it, and begins to shake it violently. And then stops after one of you probably tells her to stop.
Yeah.
Oh.
Just kind of,
Very strong grip. Ow.
yeah, we're working on that. So, but yeah, no, we're doing good. We've accomplished quite a few things. Made some. I've made some really amazing items lately, and I'll just kind of bring out the sword, the two swords, and was like, recently made these.
Yeah. She is wide-eyed and amazed about the sword. You tell her how you made them, how you created them, and honestly, she is enthralled by the story itself. She like gets wrapped up in it, and Grok more or less brushes her shoulder to like get her back in the zone. Goes, "Oh right, sorry. This is all amazing, and you must tell me more. But since you guys are here, if there's anything other help you need, I'm more than willing to help." Grok does state, "That being the case, I also have to come along by that, personal card and everything. So hey, glad you guys are here."
Yeah, it's good to see you.
Likewise.
Yeah, it's good to see you, Grok.
Same, honestly. Training has been going well.
How well? Good well?
I certainly hope so. They didn't make me Vol's personal guard for no reason. I hope.
Did you keep the book I gave you?
Yes, but after a while, it became useless.
Found something better?
No, I just read through it, that I don't need to read it anymore.
Okay.
Yes. It was the joke book, right?
No, I gave him the magic book that gives him a more magical bonus.
Okay. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, yeah. For some reason, he also has a joke book. Well, whatever. He has that.
Okay.
I think Nikolai did give him that just as a gag.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he would have read through both of them anyways.
Yeah, much
Yeah.
earlier on, but like as a farewell gift, it was the.
Yeah. Okay. He would have read through both of them at this point in time. Yes. Hopefully my training has gone well. I am reclassed as an Eldritch Knight, so I have now magic and sword skills.
Indeed.
Very useful. Hopefully.
Nice.
Vol then states, again, there's only so much we can do in the capital, though. Very true. So if you do need our help, I'm more than willing to have you guard me while I traverse the land helping the citizens.
Mm-hmm.
We would be more than happy to have you come with us. For you to go with us. We to go with you.
Where are we going, Dust? I say that. I whisper that.
Yeah, then Dust will become like, where we're going next is Verta.
Yeah. Okay.
City.
Yeah. No, that's true. That is true. Yes.
So, like, we'd be more than happy to have you along, but we're not sure if your dad will let you go.
Okay, I'm glad we. Okay, yeah. That's what I was concerned about.
Well,
Okay.
his only stipulation was since we didn't have your true location, I couldn't go. But technically, you're here.
Well, that is a good thing. So does that mean that Grok would come as well because he's your guard?
Yes, I did mention that, didn't I?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So we're all. Is this a thing now? We're all gonna go to Verta together?
I certainly hope so.
Not right now. I still have a few
Oh,
things
no.
I need to
Well, yeah,
You guys
no,
probably
in
just
the
got
future,
here, right?
Yeah,
we just got
here.
here. I mean, there's
Oh.
not a zombie thing going on or anything.
Well,
Back here.
Verta is across the iron wall, so there might be something over there. But as long as the wall doesn't break, it should be fine.
Ada just gives Nikolai a side look.
But before that, you guys need to do whatever you need to do. I'm perfectly fine with that, but meet me back here. I need to go, air quotes, convince my dad. Rushes out. Glock also follows her. I have to follow you. Kind of the job.
Just as he's going out, if you guys do go with us, Grok, we have a better weapon than the one that I left you with last time for you.
Okay, cool.
Havoc.
He rushes over towards Vol. You do hear parent and child yelling at each other, conversation-wise of, "You're too young to travel. You told me, blah, blah, blah." Vol will get her way.
Mm-hmm.
But she'll be joining the party as soon as you do whatever you need to do in town.
Nice.
Good.
Not scared at all. I mean, player-wise. That's
fine.
Yeah. She probably got prepped it just in she got stronger and prepped like, oh, they're going to be doing something crazy, so I need to become stronger. So
in the meantime, can we look for a lawyer/arbiter person?
Oh yeah, no, I was going to ask her for that too. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, can you practice this way?
Vol might not know that. You ask Mari or Era, the two attendants, ladies in waiting that are currently waiting on Vol, this little information, and Era does state, let's see, you're looking for an arbiter, so that would be in town. A very high-end one or a low-end one that volunteers their time?
I would say somebody that's good with very good, minute, subtle things that people are trying to hide so that we can get to know each other to a good degree.
Very well then. She hands you a slip of paper that she quickly writes on and gives you an address. This is the reservoir services. You can requisition one of their arbiters if you'd like.
Okay.
You are given documentation. Mari
Mhm.
then states, is there anything else you need?
I think that is it.
All right. Hopefully protect Miss Vol. Expect her here when prospective candidates for her hand will be ready. So don't take more than 2 years.
Wouldn't plan on it. That seems very long. I hope this battle doesn't last for 2 years.
Yes.
That was a joke, but okay.
Yeah, no, but we got it.
Yeah.
It's just more of like like, we're happy she's coming, but like, it's adding on this whole nother, we gotta keep her alive.
Yeah. Right.
That's a pressure.
Understandable. You guys begin to head out, and you do make it to the Reservoir Agency, which is an arbor agency. There you're met with the person up front, and they do state, welcome to the Reservoir. If there's anyone specific you need, let us know. Otherwise, how can I help you today?
Yes, we are the party Hope's contract, and we are hoping to hire an arbiter, or at least your guys' services, so that we've come to realize that we are not necessarily the best communicators with one another, and we would like someone to help us out with the communicating to get to know each other and to get everything out in the open.
Ah, I see. You need someone that can read the situation at hand and help things to progress forwards.
Yes.
Very well. I do have 3 that are currently available. Their prices are as follows. One is known as Red. She is a sprite young half-elf with a can-do attitude. However, her services cost 100 gold. There is a older gentleman by the name of Samuel. He is a young, middle kind of aged human with blonde hair and green eyes. A very smooth-talking individual, but very cold and distant towards others, so long as they are not familiar to him. And the last is 50 gold for his services. Oh wait, sorry, I forgot to mention Samuel's cost. But his cost is 300 gold. And then the last one is 50 gold for their services, known as Ezekiel, or Z for short, as he likes to go by. He is a sprite young, presumably undead individual that has been recently brought in by our president.
Could we just like pick a number or like?
Let's convene and talk briefly. Who we'd like to do? Is the price is based off of experience?
More than likely.
Okay.
Thinking the first lady.
Red.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Red seems nice.
Like we're gonna need not someone.
If
Samuel.
Samuel, he has the experience, quite a bit of experience,
yeah.
but he's really cold, and I don't think that's necessarily what we need.
If someone's too cold to Nikolai, he's not gonna like it.
He'll warm up by the way it's phrased, but at the exact same time, you'll have to deal with that for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then Z, he personality-wise, I think he would do great, but with his experience, maybe not so much.
Well, that's true, but he was also brought in by the specific president of the company itself.
So he must have been pretty good, So I would say either Z or Red. Red is really bubbly. So, and it could also
Might get out, might weed out more things that we don't want to talk about by being that way.
That's true.
Yeah, like Z sounds like he's right in the middle between the two. With personality, like he's the medium. Like cool guy, get everything out. Okay. So you're thinking? Is everybody thinking red?
Yeah. I'm gonna. Yeah.
Ada.
Yep.
Red.
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 Is it red with 2 D's or is it just like how's it spelled?
R-E-D.
Oh, okay. Like the color. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Red.
So we're gonna go with red.
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 She calls Red over, and soon enough you're met with a half-elf individual. Rather young, but not so young. She's also a half-elf, so you're not entirely sure, like, the age, because elves.
You know.
Soon
She
enough,
could be 30. She could be
400. She does come over and she does state, "Oh, hello everyone. My name is Red. It's a pleasure to meet all of you."
Wish I could turn. Can I turn Nikolai the other way?
You turn the other way. Oops. I mean, technically, you did turn the other way.
Oh, there
Yay!
you go.
You turn the other way.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to meet all of you.
Pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure.
Right. I've been told that I might be your team's arbiter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right
Then we'll just kind of. Yeah, there's things that we need to work with, and we're not the best communicators. And so we definitely need someone to help us out with all this.
Of course. Sometimes
Yeah.
it comes natural to others, and sometimes it doesn't. I understand.
Yeah. So how does this work? Do we just like sit in a room and we just talk about things, or do you travel with us?
If you do pay for the traveling cost, that would be another 300 gold for my services for as long as I'm retained by your team. But I'd be traveling along with you, dealing with the situation at hand, as well as the information at hand, and generally advising you on what to do.
I guess we can do. We don't really need advising on what to do. We just need advising on personal things.
Other?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think overall,
That as
Just-
well would be included.
yeah, well, I don't think we need you to travel with us. But we do need your services with meeting in the room at least.
Very well then. That would still be the 100 gold, which is not an issue. And we can go to a private room, if you'd follow me.
Yes.
We follow and
Or
we pay her. We pay her now.
going
Yeah.
into it. Okay.
You
paid her
pay
for
the front door individual. They bring you into a private room so you can discuss things. What you
Dustin,
discuss,
you can
though,
take that off the party. Oh,
we can discuss this now if you want, but we can also wait until next week. Up to you guys.
I'm okay with that.
I think we should wait until next week. That
Yeah.
way we have
we
time.
might
to
be
organize-
more awake too. I'm getting pretty tired.
Yeah.
more awake, and then let's spend this week organizing our thoughts on what we want to talk about.
Mhm.
And bring out. Like, we're gonna have to bring out everything, but kind of more of make a list and be like, okay, these are the
Yeah.
things we're talking about.
And I guess we might want to get out like maybe the things that we want to like make sure that on the level of like don't do this because it's bad and how much you don't want that to happen, or like how much you dislike something about something that someone did. I don't know.
Yeah.
And that yeah.
Or
Or something that something didn't do, or what they are going to do that. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I got it. But whatever you decide to do, and however you decide to describe it, we'll have to wait and find out next time as we end the session for today.